All right, let's go. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday night. You know what time it is. It's stream time. We've got a fun one here today. Going to be doing a tier list, keeping with the off-season trend. Kind of started that a couple weeks ago. And there's also a surprising amount of news to talk about. Lot of stuff happening. Very, very eventful. And as Jack is saying, welcome to the stream, Jack. Also some pretty sad news that actually just happened, or at least just got released. I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes ago. Very, very eventful day, couple of days here in the NFL. So we've got some news to hit, and we're going to be doing a wide receiver tier list because you know what? I thought that'd be fun. I had so much fun doing that team tier list. I've always wanted to do some positional rankings besides just the quarterback quiz, as much as I love that. And we might revisit that at some point too. But for those that tuned in last week, I had mentioned doing a fantasy type of stream. I decided that I'm going to hold off on that just for a little bit, just because, I don't know, I feel like fantasy mock draft season really starts later on in the summer. And I was kind of scouting out the ESPN fantasy mock draft lobbies and everything, and it wasn't very happening. So we will do that, but we're going to hold off on that for a little bit. So we're just going to have some fun. We're just going to talk some ball, have some news, and do a tier list today. So as always, you guys know the drill, right? If you're in here, feel free to say hello and chat. We got Jack and Nick in here. Welcome to the stream, guys. Good to have you in here. Nick saying, I'm finally here to start one of my streams. Well, hey, there you go. Hey, cheers to that. Appreciate you tuning in as always. All right, let's switch over here to ESPN. Won't beat around the bush too much here. We'll just get right into it. But we will start with what just came out. I mean, legitimately, I got the Adam Schefter notification like maybe 15 minutes ago. There it is right there. Jim Irsay, Colts owner, CEO, passing away, 65 years old. Man, yeah, it is pretty sad day, you know. You want to talk about an owner that absolutely loved football, man. You know, Jim Irsay, say what you want. That man absolutely loved the Indianapolis Colts. That man absolutely loved the NFL. Not every owner you can say had like a true, genuine passion or care for the team that they run. But Irsay, man, he really did. He was tweeting about the Colts 24/7 and everything. That man was locked in for the Colts. But yeah, pretty surprising news, right? 65, that's fairly young. So rest in peace to Jim Irsay, capping off what has been a crazy, crazy day in the NFL. Welcome to the stream, pair champ. Good to have you in here. How's it going? I'd say it's going pretty well, honestly. It's been a little rainy in Fargo recently, so I haven't been outside quite as much. Very busy weekend. This past weekend was out of town in Iowa celebrating my brother-in-law's graduation, so that was pretty exciting. But yeah, just getting settled back in, kind of getting back into the swing of things, getting my routine back after what's been a very, very busy couple of weeks, honestly. But yeah, man, we're just out here talking some news right now, and then have a wide receiver tier list coming up after that. So that should be pretty fun too. But thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Jack is saying Paul Allen has passion for the Seahawks. Jody Allen, not so much. Yeah, that's right. Paul Allen passed away. That was a few years ago now, too, wasn't it? It is Irsay. Okay. I always thought it was Irsay for some reason. Okay. I appreciate that, honestly. That's crazy. I got his name wrong. It is Irsay. Okay. That makes more sense. I don't know why I've always said Irsay. It's like Robert Irsay, Jim Irsay. Irsay. There we go. All right. We got it right. But yeah, rest in peace to Jim Irsay. But other news to hit here. Man, what a win for the NFL right here. What a win for common sense. What a win for the competitive spirit. What a win for the sport of football and the fabric of the NFL as we know it. Thank goodness. Just barely, by the skin of our teeth, by only 2 votes. But we did it. We did it. The Tush Push is here to stay, at least for now. We have dodged what I just think is such a big can of worms, right? And I've given the Tush Push take before. I do not think it should be banned. I don't think it should be taken out of the game. I think it's unfair to the Eagles, who have really perfected that play. They run it better than everyone else, right? There's no statistical proof that it's dangerous for players. There's no sort of study that's shown that it's an unsafe play or anything like that, right? And I just think that's quite the can of worms to open if we're going to be out here being like, nope, sorry, you can't run that play. You're just too good at it. Like, you know what? Shoot, I'd love if we banned Jahmyr Gibbs handoffs, right? I'd love if that wasn't allowed. But you know what? You can't do that. You can't do that. Mike Vrabel was saying, I'd love if we could ban quarterback runs every time we played Lamar Jackson, you know? You just can't open that can of worms, in my opinion, right? I don't know. I've given my tush push take before. It was very close. There's a lot of reports that it might actually get banned. Diana Rossini was pretty convinced, like this morning even, that there was going to be enough votes to ban it. But just barely. And I don't know if there's the Schefter tweet, but it listed all 10 teams that voted to keep it. Man, thank you to those 10 teams right there. The Vikings, my precious Vikings, are not one of them. That's a different conversation, right? Little disappointed, obviously, but whatever. But shout out to the 10 teams that voted to keep it. Hey, say what you want about the Eagles. This goes pretty hard. Push on. They got the push on graphic ready. Look at what team it's against, too. They're playing on Monday night this year. That's going to be a very spicy and interesting game. I didn't even think about the tush push ban angle, right? Because it's the Packers that proposed this. And they're going to be playing on Monday night in primetime this year. Could be a pretty good game, too. So I like that, but that's awesome. Look at that. Doing numbers. You know, the social team, they had this one cooked up. They're feeling themselves right now. But you know what? Good for the Eagles, man. And good for the NFL. I think this is the right call right here, personally. Nick agrees with me. Let's go. Jack saying the entirety of the NFC West voted to ban the tush push, and frankly, I'm disappointed. If you're going to remove the tush push, it better be a result of removing shoving entirely, and the open field shoving reminds me of rugby. Oh, yeah, right? And I was like, because they changed the rule a little bit. We're like, oh, you can't push your guys at all. And then, I don't know if you saw, but there's a Twitter thread of like all these plays that would be taken away if they had the ban go through, and it was like the crazy Adrian Peterson touchdown run versus the Cowboys and stuff like that. And it's just like, man, like, I don't know. Who are we to say, sorry, you're just too good at it. You can't do it, right? And again, like the Eagles are better at this play than everyone else. They would be unfairly punished, I think, because of this. And one more thing I'll say, right, to these 22 teams that voted against it, right? And especially some of the more vocal ones, like, for example, Sean McDermott and the Bills, right? I better not see you run it this year then, right? If you've spent all offseason talking about how terrible and bad and dangerous this play is and blah, blah, okay, don't run it. I better not see the Bills run it this year. That's what I'll say, right? Hey, shoot. I better not see the Vikings run it. I don't know. I just think, like, it's so hypocritical for the Bills to be like, no, it's bad. But, like, didn't you run it the second most times in the league? I don't know. But we dodged a bullet there. Close one. Other big news. This was not today, but this weekend. I really wanted to talk about it. Brock Purdy extension. Let's have a conversation here in a sec. Welcome to the stream. Game solved. Good to have you in here. Asking, what am I doing if the Bills run the push next year? I might ban the Bills, honestly. I might ban Josh Allen. I don't know. I mean, whatever. Like, I don't think that Sean McDermott is going to be like, no, Dr. Pigskin's making snarky remarks about us. We can't do it. But it's like, come on, dude. I mean, come on. He was literally quoted. I believe Sean McDermott was like asked about it, and he said like it wasn't safe. It's like, that's crazy. So you must hate Josh Allen then if you're going to put him in harm's way. That's crazy. Wow, you hate your own quarterback. Oh. Pear Champ with a rest in peace to Jim Irsay and his love for Sarah Palin's feet. Whoa. I know it's that's crazy. Did he actually say that? That is crazy. Oh, man. Nick saying it would open the door for so many plays to possibly get banned, and I don't think that's fair. Exactly. That's the other thing. Like, what if, I don't know, the Titans 5 years from now come up with a really cool wrinkle in the passing game? Are we going to be like, nope, sorry. That's too unique and too cool. You're too good at it. Sorry, can't do it. Like, no, come on. But Pear Champ saying Tush Push should not be banned. Disagree with the wording about not pushing players at all. Well, look at that. There you go. Hey, we got our wish. I don't know. And I just think It's not necessarily the prettiest play, but sometimes it is. I don't know. It's a very team-oriented play, and I think that that's kind of beautiful, right? Whatever. It's like 1 yard in a cloud of dust. It's not like fullback dive or halfback dive is that much more aesthetically pleasing than just running the tush push, right? I don't know. It's kind of beautiful. Or I like to call it the brotherly shove when the Eagles do it, right? City of brotherly love. And, it's like, oh, your teammates, your brothers, like they're shoving you over the goal line, like it really is the most team oriented play, I don't know. I think it's kind of beautiful in that sense, but that's just me spouting nonsense. We got Stolen Joke in here. Welcome to the stream, Stolen Joke, saying, I think it'd be extremely funny if all the teams who voted to keep it all started running it a ton. That would be awesome, man. I mean, hey, like everyone is welcome to try it, right? I mean, again, it's not like just some cheap Madden money play glitch thing, right? I've seen the Vikings try multiple times to run it and get stuffed, So you do need a good offensive line. You do need a quarterback that can squat like 600 pounds and all that stuff, or at least it certainly helps. It's not just like, oh, well, easy Kirk Cousins rushing touchdown glitch, We also got the Yelka. Hopefully I got that right in here, saying hello, doctor. Hello to you, the Yelka. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's go. Hope you're having a good Wednesday night. Glad you're spending it here, talking ball with us. That's awesome. Jack is loving the Purdy deal. And by loving it, I mean that it is a lot of money. Well, here we go. Let's talk about the Brock Purdy contract. We're going to get this pulled up here. Not Brick Purdy. We're going to go to over the cap. Brock Purdy contract. I want to start off by saying, good for Brock Purdy, man. I mean, this is life-changing wealth right here. This is one of the coolest stories I think I've ever seen in the NFL, right? You got to consider where this guy came from. I know it's been beaten to death at this point, but the literal last pick of the draft, 262 overall. Didn't even know if he was going to make the team as a rookie, right? There's plenty of 7th-round picks that don't even make the 53-man roster. Buried 3rd on the depth chart, right? Trey Lance, Jimmy G ahead of him. Had a great college career, but like no one thought this guy had any sort of NFL prospects. To go from that and making like $900K a year to an an average annual value of $53 million a year, 5 years, $265 million. First and foremost, right? Before I say anything else, good for Brock Purdy. I mean, this is an unbelievable deal for him, and I don't blame him one bit for taking it. There's no reason he should have taken a pay cut, right? There was maybe some rumors last year. Oh, maybe he'd be willing to take a hometown discount, take like $30 million a year. Nah, dude, go get as much as you can, right? So, incredible for him. However, for the 49ers, I'm kind of with you, Jack. I don't know. This is not necessarily my favorite deal. And so I think there's a lot to talk about as to why I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of this contract. Because it's not just like, oh, that's a lot of money for Purdy, right? And I've got my whole video of like, oh, the NFL overvalues quarterbacks. And you can make the argument like most quarterbacks are overpaid. Whatever, right? That's a different conversation. I think in order to really articulate why I don't necessarily love this, I want to compare this to a similar deal that we saw last year, which was the Jared Goff contract extension, right? The Lions gave Goff a big money extension last year. And honestly, I actually really liked that deal. I was a big fan of that deal. I thought it made sense because considering the trajectory that the Lions are on and their timeline, right? Yes, they're going to start paying Goff a lot of money soon. 2026, 2027, 2028, those are big cap hits right here, right? Almost 23% of the cap in 2026. That's a lot. But the first 2 years of it, right, last season and this season, honestly not bad. And when you look at the Lions roster, this is a team that's ready to win right now, right? A lot of their guys still are on rookie deals, right? Jamison Williams is on a rookie deal. Aiden Hutchinson's on a rookie deal. I think Sewell's big extension is like just about to start kicking in. Amon-Ra is still pretty cheap, all things considered, right? Like most of their guys, you can still see them being there and being good for a few years. So yeah, 2027... the Goff deal might not be amazing because he'll be 33. Some of these other guys will be due for extensions, and he's just going to be more expensive, right? But that's 2027's problem. 2024, you're a legit Super Bowl contender. 2025, you're a legit Super Bowl contender. Maybe even 2026, you will be. You're paying extra, right? Like you're paying less. You're going to pay more later in the deal. But really, this is your window right here. And it's worth keeping him happy and not having him hold out or anything like that, right? So I think for the Lions, like something like that makes sense. For the Purdy deal, I think that the 49ers are just in a very different spot than the Lions are right now, right? If you pull up the 49ers roster, this is a team that feels like it's a little bit more on the downward trajectory, right? I mean, they even seem to know it themselves internally. If you look at how they approach this offseason, they are kind of like a half rebuild right now, right? Christian McCaffrey talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? Love the guy. Great player for a while. I don't know. Can you really count on him being like offensive player of the year again with all these injuries, and he's going to be turning 29 soon? I don't know. Ayuk coming off an injury. You lose Debo. He was getting a little bit older, whatever. Kittle's getting a little bit older. Trent Williams is very old. The offensive line has taken a lot of hits, right? Like this team is just so fundamentally different from what it was even 2 years ago, because they already had so many guys on big contracts, right? Not to mention like Bosa on defense, Fred Warner, they just paid him too, right? And you've kind of seen them take the hits from all these high-paid skill players and like Bosa and Warner, right? I mean, think about all the guys they lost in free agency this offseason. Like they couldn't even entertain bringing back Dre Greenlaw because, well, we have to prepare ourselves to pay Purdy. They couldn't even entertain bringing back Charvarius Ward or Talanoa Hufanga because, well, you know, if we're going to spend any money, it's got to be on Purdy. I just think it's very unfortunate timing to pay Purdy, who I think is all right. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, Brock Purdy is bad or terrible or anything. Like, all things considered, I think he is a pretty good quarterback. But $53 million is a lot of money. And for that contract to really start kicking in, you know, like 2028, like, I don't know. I guess they backloaded it pretty well. The first few years might not be that bad, but they've already got their own cap issues. Even when it goes up to 8% of the cap in 2026, like that's a heck of a lot more than when it was like 1% when his rookie deal was on the books, right? So I don't know, man. I just think like they're in such a tough spot. They kind of have to rebuild, and they just chose to pay up a quarterback who I think is all right, but not like amazing by any means. It's easy for me to say when I like don't have my job on the line or anything like, oh, they should have just like tried to roll with Sam Darnold or something. But I don't know. My Niners take has been like, if I was the 49ers ownership, honestly, I would have pulled aside Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and be like, you know what? You guys have done a really good job. You guys have done a full rebuild before. We're going to be patient with you guys. Yeah, we might win like 6 games for the next 2 years, but like we trust you guys with a full rebuild instead of just like, I don't know, kind of trying to run it back, but not really. I don't know. I don't know. It's not my favorite deal. I don't think it's like the worst signing or ever. Like, I don't think the 49ers are going to be like picking 5th overall next year. I don't know. Some people in chat are saying the window is closed. It kind of feels like it a little bit, doesn't it? Doesn't it just kind of feel like last season was kind of their last dance? And then, I don't know, they just got injured, right? And maybe they'll be a little bit healthier next year. But it's also like, man, like, why were they injured last year? It's because they've got a lot of older, aging vets who have already had extensive injury histories, right? Like, is it really that much of a surprise that CMC was hurt last year? Is it really that much of a surprise that Trent Williams has been dealing with injuries? I mean, the man he's like, 36 years old, right? Yeah, he's going to be turning 37 before the season starts, you know? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. This just does not feel like quite as deep of a team, and we're going to see for sure. Last year, I feel like we saw a little bit closer to the real Brock Purdy, which again is still fine, right? Still fine, still a starting level quarterback, but I don't know. Again, easier for me to say when my job's not on the line here, but I just think this might cap their ceiling a little bit at the end of the day, but I don't know. We got a lot of people filing in here, though. Welcome, Tom Foolery, YOLO, and Henry, and Wolf. and Ethan. Let's go. Look at that. Appreciate you guys tuning in. That's awesome. Wow, look at that. We got a decent crowd here right now. Look at that. I love it. But I don't know. The 49ers, am I right? Anyways, that is the news. I don't know. Oh, this was pretty cool. Protector of the Year award for offensive linemen. That's awesome. Yeah. This is a great addition right here. I'll be interested to see if this becomes like a tackle-centric award, right? Especially with the word protector. I feel like they might be valuing pass protection a lot. I don't know. We'll see. But this will be fun. All right, I got to catch up with chat here. Henry's saying, ready to throw your overly optimistic Falcons takes at me this evening. You know what? I'm with you, Jack. Let's hear him. I know you're mentioning a couple weeks ago, right? You're thinking maybe sneaky 12-win team. You like the young core that the Falcons have got going. Let's hear the Falcons' optimism. I'm always here for it. I tell you what, when we get into this wide receiver tier list in a sec, there'll be some optimistic things that will be said about the Falcons. I can tell you that for sure. There's a certain Falcon that will end up pretty high on there. I think you know who it is probably, but Pearchap thinks the contract is all right. The 49ers just have a poor roster that needs to be built up after another injury-prone year. Yeah, and all things considered, I thought they did pretty well for themselves in the draft. I really liked the Michael Williams pick. And they had a lot of picks too. So, they hit on a few young guys. That's how they can get a little younger and cheaper, right? And we've seen them have excellent drafts before. I guess I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but there's a small part of me that just wanted to see as an experiment, like, what if the 49ers did have the stones to move on from Purdy and they really just trusted Shanahan and the system that much and they pivoted to another quarterback to save money. I just, as far as just as a football science experiment, I would have loved to see that, but I get the 49ers are not my laboratory or anything. Wolf is saying they're going to have to trade Purdy probably next season. That would be crazy. I mean, there were a few rumblings of a Purdy trade before this deal got done. Henry's asking how much would a team give up for him? I don't know if there'd be a team that'd give up a first. I could see him fetching a second. I don't know. He is a young quarterback, though. He probably would get a first. If there was a team that was willing to trade for him, I'm trying to think of who that would be. The Browns, maybe? That would be crazy. The Browns have 2 firsts next year, right? Hypothetically, if there was going to be a Purdy trade, I could see the Browns trading one of their 2026 firsts for Purdy if there was going to be a trade. That would almost make a little bit of sense. Purdy would fit well with Stefanski. They'd still have a first-round pick next year. Lord knows they need a quarterback. But they already have plenty of quarterbacks on that roster. But YOLO is saying he wished they would have traded Purdy last year or this offseason. Dude, that would have been, if they would have done that last year after making the Super Bowl with him, that would have been one of the most shocking NFL trades of all time. But you know what's crazy? Here's a take I actually stand by. Honest to goodness, this might sound wild. I don't know, maybe not. The 2023 49ers, I'm not sure that Purdy was the best quarterback on that team. Remember, Sam Darnold was the backup. Low-key, what would have happened in an alternate reality had they traded Purdy after their Super Bowl run and then trotted out Darnold? I don't know. That would have been interesting. Wolf isn't liking the Purdy trade. Now I get it. If you're the Browns, you just want to use those draft picks next year to build up the entire roster. I get that. And you've got 2 young quarterbacks already, but YOLO saying Schefter said that teams weren't interested in trading for him. I guess that makes sense because you'd have to give up a lot in a trade and then turn around and pay him too. I mean, that would be a big, hefty investment right there. Tomfoolery says only to end up paying the last pick in the draft top dollar when we need to rebuild. Yeah. Oh, we got David in here too. Let's go. Welcome, David. Good to have you in here. Saying, I think with the right OC and right O-line that any QB can succeed. I'm with you, dude. I am totally with you. I have been on the quarterbacks are kind of overvalued beat for a little over a year now, right? I think back to that video I made last year. I don't know. I just the same way that with a good offensive coordinator and a good offensive line, you can get a really good season out of maybe an all right running back, right? Like maybe the running back doesn't have an insane 40 time or doesn't have an insane build or doesn't have crazy jukes, but if they have good vision, they can hit the hole and get like 5 yards a carry. Like why can't that be the same for the quarterback, right? Like maybe you don't have the craziest arm ever, but as long as you kind of get through your reads and get that ball out, passing plays work. I mean, like literally with the 49ers, like, let's be honest, dude. Honestly, the offense was really not that different with Jimmy G versus Purdy under center. Purdy's a little bit better of a creator and just gives him a little bit higher ceiling because he could get out and scramble, and he was just a little bit better when the play broke down. I also think that Jimmy was just a tiny bit better in structure, though, and Jimmy just got through his reads just a little bit quicker and got that ball out a little bit faster. So they each have different skill sets, and overall, I mean, the end result of how good their offense was and how good the team was really wasn't all that different. I don't know. But Henry saying, for the Falcons, I really think that people are overlooking how big of a step the offense could take forward with Zach Robinson's second year. He had so much hype going into last year, but was so hamstrung by Kirk. I will agree with you on that. I am honestly a big Zach Robinson optimist. I thought once Penix came in, the offense looked just so much better, especially the run game. That's what's really got me excited. I think Bijan Robinson, I mean, I've been saying this for a few years now, but I think Bijan Robinson could go absolutely nuclear this season. Now that it's not just them running like the same 4 running plays. Like when they had Kirk out there, dude, it was crazy, man. I mean, he literally was not mobile enough to like hand the ball off that much. And it was just, we're running outside zone from pistol, and that's it. That's a run game. It's outside zone and pistol. I mean, if you even go back to like that Falcons Steelers game, week 1 of last season, right? You can almost see in real time the Steelers figure out like, they're just running the same things over and over again. Like we know what play they're going to run based off the formation. Like you can see that light bulb go off in TJ Watt's head where he's like, aha, I know what play they're running, So as a big Bijan believer, dude, I mean, I'm not surprised that he went bonkers the final 3 weeks of the regular season once Penix came in there, right? They were able to have an actual legit running game because Penix could like be mobile enough to hand the ball off. I mean, it's one thing for Kirk to like not be able to scramble or struggle with pressure, but dude, like he was like stumbling and like literally struggling to get handoffs off. So that will be something I'm pretty excited for. I think the run game could be nasty. We'll see about the rest of the team. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to pour too much cold water. You know what? No, I mean, we'll save that for another time. But I do think overall, there's a lot to like about the offense. We'll talk about Drake London here in a sec. Bijan is him. Penix is interesting. I've got my eyes on him. But yeah, I do really like Zach Robinson. I thought he was a great hire for Raheem Morris, and year 2, man, could be fun. Any QB might be okay, maybe not any QB. I mean, we saw Josh Johnson going for the 49ers, and that was kind of ugly, We've seen like Josh Dobbs have a few moments for the Vikings. Not any QB, but with a good enough infrastructure, there's a surprising amount of quarterbacks that could be successful. I think that's a better take, but yeah, we got Andrew England in here too. Welcome to the stream, Andrew. Good to have you in here. Saying the problem is QB has an exponentially higher ceiling than a running back. Most running backs could play well behind a quality offensive line because there's exponentially fewer failure points. I suppose that's fair, right? It's not like a running back can throw an interception. Really, the only way a back can turn the ball over is fumbling, which just doesn't happen very often. Taking a sack is usually worse than like a negative run, right? You're looking at like, a loss of 2 versus a loss of 8. I suppose that makes sense. Henry's got nightmares of TJ Watt. Yeah, that was a crazy game, man. Steelers just came in there and beat the Falcons with baseball bats. Back when I thought the Steelers might be something. Good times. David with a good question. Is there a scheme that can work with a terrible offensive line? Legitimately asking, as I think there might be. Jack is saying no. I mean, if you ask Mike McDaniel or Tua, they think so. I mean, do you remember last year? Tua was like, I don't care about the offensive line because I get the ball out so quick. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I mean, like, if you just get the ball out insanely quick and you run like a point and shoot, one read type of offense, like, yeah, that certainly helps, right? But also, not to be too mean, I pick on this team so much. But also, you know, with the Dolphins, you see, like, it only works some of the time. And at the end of the day, like, you do need good trench play. Like, that is pretty much just a requirement to be in, like, a high-level offense. So you could try and work around it. Like, even the 49ers try and do that, too. Kyle Shanahan is always like, no, we don't need to draft offensive linemen high. I only need one good one. We're going to make it work with everyone else, you know? I don't know. So some of the Shanahan guys, it's kind of funny. For as much as like Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel like running the ball, they don't really prioritize, or at least their teams don't prioritize the offensive line as much as you might think. I think McVay and LaFleur are a little bit different though, and they've got a little bit more power-based running games. Both the Packers and the Rams have really loaded up on offensive line. That is, I feel like there's almost like two different branches of the Shanahan tree now. Like there's the McVay and the LaFleur, and then there's the McDaniel and Shanahan branches. So it's been interesting to see how that tree has evolved. That was an awkward sip of water right there. All right. This has been some good conversations. Let's get into the main event here. I had a lot of fun doing the tier list. As Caden was saying, tier list be going crazy. I saw that earlier in chat. The tier list do indeed go crazy. Today, we are going to be doing a wide receiver tier list. I've wanted to do this for a while. I've wanted to do some position rankings that are not quarterbacks for a while. So here we go. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 7 tiers, which I've taken the liberty of naming myself. And we've got a lot of wide receivers. I just found this one online. If you guys want to find it, it's NFL wide receiver 2025-2026 season tier list maker. But obviously, I made the tiers myself. Ranking is crazy. Yeah, let's explain the tiers. So 7 tiers. Tier 1, best of the best. This is going to be a very small tier. And I know I said that 2 weeks ago. It's like, oh, this is going to be a small tier. But I actually, like, spoiler alert, there's only going to be 2 guys that go in here. True wide receiver 1, I would say this would probably be like the rest of the top 10, right? Like these are true like field tilters, guys that get doubled pretty much constantly. Pretty versatile guys usually that can win on the outside or from the slot. True, legit like alpha complete receivers, right? Then you've got good wide receiver 1 or high-end wide receiver 2, right? Just for like an example, T. Higgins, right? Like the T. Higgins genre of player, pretty much. Solid starter. Okay, nice. Like, you know, you might feel pretty good about them being your wide receiver 2 or really good wide receiver 3, something like that. Certainly not a problem. It's not an issue that they're out there getting like 40 snaps a game, right? Intriguing but unproven. Threw this one in there because there's just a few guys that it's like, you know what? I really like you. I just haven't seen a lot of you. Let's see a little bit more in like year 2 or something, right? But I like you. Depth piece. Maybe a little bit more of a specialized player. Maybe it's like more just a pure deep threat or a pure yak guy or a pure size guy or even like a blocker, something like that. A bit more of a specialized player. It's like wide receiver 4, but they play a nice role. And then ruh-roh raggy, which is what I would say if these guys are getting more than like 35 snaps a game. It's a little mean, but we're having some fun with the bottom tier here. But these are headshots, and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've looked through this a little bit. There's a few guys just like, I might have to look up and see who this is because I don't know what they look like necessarily. But we're going to try our best here. But that is the tier list right here. This should be a lot of fun. We'll see how long this takes, but we're going to be hanging out ranking wide receivers. All right. Dr. Yo-Yo is saying Jamar number 1. We'll see. We'll get to Jamar in a little bit. We've got a nice little order to follow here. I think they're organized by team too. We'll get to Jamar. You could make a very interesting argument. Jack's saying I did see Jamar going for $180 against the Rams last year. I don't think did the Bengals play the Rams last year. And we're going to try and order them within the tiers too. We're not just going to like throw these guys in a tier. We're going to try and like actually order them around and stuff too. But one more thing we'll hit before we get started. Henry with a good question. Do I think there's any hope for the Dolphins this season? I mean, at least I think there's some, right? I will say once Tua came back last season, for the majority of the rest of the season, their offense honestly did look pretty good. And I still think like Devon Achane is really good. Tyreek Hill's coming off a down year, but we'll see, right? I really, really like Jalen Waddle still. Jonnu Smith was a great addition to their offense last year. He was one of the few guys that I feel like did give them like an actual power element. And I thought McDaniel did a really good job of utilizing him last year. Arthur Smith vindication a little bit, seeing Jonnu Smith go off last year. He's like, maybe he really was better than Kyle Pitts all along. But a lot of it is really going to come down to how do the young, unproven guys on the offensive line hold up? Can Tua stay healthy? Can this running game just branch out a little bit more? And then how is the defense going to look? I mean, is Jalen Ramsey still going to be there? How are they going to recover from the loss of Javon Holland? Can Chop Robinson take another step forward? So I won't say it's hopeless. There is still some like nice talent on that team. And for as much grief as I give Mike McDaniel, like there are still a lot of things that he does really well. And I love the way that he used Jonnu Smith last year. He really was kind of like a Tyler Warren type of player in their offense. Just so many screens, so many plays drawn up to get him out in space after the catch. He's a good mobile blocker. He's not necessarily someone you want attached to the line of scrimmage, but like on all these perimeter runs, you get him out like in space on a DB. Like, yeah, that's a good role for him. So there is still some to like. I'm a little skeptical though. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like maybe 2023 was their best chance, but all right, here we go. A.J. Brown off the rip. We're going to put him as a true wide receiver one. I think he's probably top 5 receiver in the league, honestly. There's not a lot of receivers like A.J. Brown left, right? He's a true out-and-out X. Dude, he's so good on those slants. He's so good on winning down the sideline. But he is a pretty complete receiver, right? He's like if George Pickens was a little bit more refined, right? Like he's like the Jerry Rice of George Pickens, if that makes sense. But no, I mean, he has been a dude since he came into the NFL. He, outside of Saquon, I don't want to say he's the best player on the Eagles outside of Saquon because like Lane Johnson is pretty good. They've got some really good defenders. But just what he offers as a vertical threat, able to take the top off the defense, right? Like you really can't commit one way or the other. Him and Saquon being in the same offense is just such a dilemma. We've seen him come up big time and time again in these big games. His production speaks for itself. He is like a true wide receiver one in that like he has to be doubled constantly. You have to have that extra safety that accounts for him. He's so good, man. I love the way he plays too. He is such a dog. They don't always feed him the ball, right? Because this is very run-heavy offense, and there's been like a lot of narratives and takes or whatever, and there was the whole, is he going to get traded? But, man, I don't know. He just plays such a big role. There's no way they should trade him, right? There's no way. Is my audio down? Shoot. Is that better? Sorry about that. I was fiddling with my microphone volume a little bit earlier. Hopefully that's a little bit better, but sorry about that, Wolf. Yeah, we got Ron Arnold in here. Let's go. Welcome back, Ron. Good to have you in here. Let's go. Welcome to the stream. Having a nice little wide receiver tier list going. All right, I believe this is Jahan Dotson. I don't know, man. I don't want to put him in rut row raggy because honestly, he had a few nice moments for the Eagles last year. He has been a bit of a disappointment, though, all things considered, for a first-round pick, which is a shame because he had a really exciting rookie season. I really liked him coming off his rookie year, but he just hasn't really caught on in Philly, right? Again, offense that doesn't pass a lot, and he's firmly buried behind the top 2 guys. I'll put him in depth piece. I'll put him as a depth piece. Let's go. Audio's better? There we go. Talking about Tua and the Dolphins. Got to be the adult in the room as a coach. Oh, yeah. As far as McDaniel handling the whole situation goes. Yeah, that is tough. Jerry Jeudy, underrated, Wolf says. He kind of is, honestly. You know what? He kind of proved some doubters wrong last year. He had a nice year. I liked what I saw from Jerry Jeudy. But, all right, we'll put Dotson in depth piece. Devontae Smith, I feel like he's pretty comfortably like good wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. There are plenty of teams that Devontae Smith would be a wide receiver 1 on, but he probably is better as a 2, or at least someone He's better if you have someone that like complements his skill set well. And that's what AJ Brown does, right? Smith is a bit of a smaller guy. He doesn't have to beat nearly as much press coverage because you've got Brown just penciled in at the X. Smith can work from the slot, or you can put him in motion as the Z, right? Everything just makes so much sense in this offense. And I mean, the role he plays, man, he is pretty darn good. Again, if you want to have a slot guy be your wide receiver one, there's nothing wrong with that. We see plenty of offenses do that. There are a lot of questions about his size and like if he'd be able to beat press or man coming out of college, but man, he's turned out pretty good, man. He's honestly exceeded my expectations. Like I thought he would be more of like a solid starter or like more near the bottom of this tier, but he's probably like a top 20 wide receiver. He's had a good career. All right. Here we go. Jamar Chase. We had someone in chat earlier saying Jamar Chase number 1. Well, we'll see if he ends up as number 1, but I am going to put him best of the best. I was so high on Jamar Chase coming into this season. I was so ready to see a full season of Jamar Chase again. He had a bit of the injury bug. Joe Burrow had been banged up a little bit, right? And I feel like at this time last year, Chase, I don't want to say he was like forgotten about, but he was not. I don't think a lot of people had him in this best of the best tier last year. I feel like if you're going to have a really exclusive top tier, it would have been Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. But Chase has absolutely proven that he belongs in this tier, right? I mean, triple crown winner? Come on, man. Maybe the most explosive receiver in the NFL. I mean, probably the best deep threat in the NFL, one of the best after the catch. And again, he's a guy that is really grown and refined his game a lot. He's gotten a lot more comfortable out of the slot. He has a very complete route tree. He can go up and high point the ball. I mean, there's not a hole in his game except for like, oh, maybe he's not the world's best blocker, but I love watching him play so much, man. He's such a fun player, such a fun receiver. I love me some Jamar Chase. Yeah, absolutely deserves to be top tier. If you really want to make the case that he's wide receiver 1, honestly, I won't hate you for it. I don't think that's a crazy take whatsoever. We'll see if that's my take or not. But I don't think that's a bad take at all. If you want to say Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the NFL, go for it. I don't have an issue with it. But Nick is saying, I feel like Chase and Jettis are 1 and 2. It just depends on the day for who's first. I mean, yeah, seriously. I mean, it's just, I know I say this a lot, but it truly is crazy that they were teammates in college, man. I mean, that LSU team, what a team that was. Fast Break, welcome to the stream, saying GW. I'm assuming Garrett Wilson is a true one. He's an interesting one. I'm excited to get to Garrett Wilson. Pear Champ is saying, I think Jamar has been right there with JJ. Both were at LSU with Burrow. I like Jamar more than JJ. I just don't love JJ personally. Oh, okay. Getting a little spicy. The LSU guys are all right. LSU is wide receiver U. All right. T. Higgins. We'll put T. Higgins in this tier too. Am I crazy for wanting to put Devontae over T. Higgins? I feel like, honestly, like these guys are like neck and neck with each other, right? And I mean, the Eagles and the Bengals are just the first 2 teams that we've done, right? But it is crazy. Like both these teams, probably the 2 best wide receiver duos in the NFL, and both of them complement each other really well, right? T. Higgins is the X, the guy on the outside for Cincinnati, which frees up Chase and the Z in the slot. Not that Chase can't play the X, but you know, if you get Chase on the move, good night, right? Higgins has struggled to stay healthy a little bit, but I mean, he's pretty established at this point. I mean, we've seen him make some unbelievable plays in the red zone. He is a pretty good vertical threat. Bengals paid him a lot of money this offseason, but he really is an important piece of this Bengals offense with how Joe Burrow likes to play quarterback, how much he likes just trusting his receivers and throwing the ball downfield. Having a guy like T. Higgins who can just go up and get it is really important for him. Andre Yoshivas up next. People are saying Yoshi slept on. Dude, he is. I have him on one of my fantasy dynasty teams. Yoshi is good, honestly. See, because I do want to put him like in a higher tier than Jahan Dotson, right? I am going to put him in solid starter, actually. I know he's only been like kind of a starter there for 1 season, and maybe you can say he's a little unproven, and he does have a decent nice life, being the third guy behind Chase and Higgins and Burrow throwing the ball. But dude, great athlete. He's got a little bit of size on him. We've seen him make some nice plays in the red zone. Andre Yoshivas is pretty good, honestly. I definitely grabbed him in Dynasty last year thinking like, oh, if Higgins is gone, like Yoshi as the 2, low-key could be kind of nice. I don't know. Solid starter is a bit high at the moment. You'd put him a tier below. Maybe. Yeah, what was his production like? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too high on Andre Yoshivas. He's kind of good though, isn't he? He had less than 500 yards. Okay, yeah. But I don't know if he fits this tier. Maybe I just need to get over the semantics and the naming of this tier a little bit and just like, he is a little intriguing but unproven. Because I think he's like a tier ahead of Jahan Dotson, if you know what I'm saying, right? We're going to leave him here for now. We'll see if I change my mind. I'm going to stand on business, at least for right now. We'll leave him at solid starter. How about that? That seems fair. Andrew asking, are we factoring in age? If we are, T clears Devontae. I would say no. I just like, if I was having a game tomorrow, who would I want? I'm going to try and not factor in age too much. Now, for certain players, like say Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill, I might be like, I don't know, like this year. I guess a better way to put it is I'm factoring in how good I think they'll be this year, right? Like, some of these older guys, I might ding them a tiny bit because like father time is coming for them a little bit. But maybe solid starters high for Yoshi. I'm a big fan though. I do like him. Top of depth piece tier. Yeah, I get 2 tiers higher is a little crazy. We'll see how everything shakes out, but we'll see. All right, Zay Flowers up next. We'll put him as a good wide receiver 1, high ends 2. I feel like he maybe airs more towards high end wide receiver 2 type of guy. I'll have him behind Devontae and T Higgins. But he is pretty good, and he fixed his drop issues a little bit last year. He's a bit of a smaller guy, but he's really good after the catch. And one thing that I really like about his game and what really makes him fit in with the Ravens is I like how good he is on these scramble drills, right? He's a guy that Lamar seems to trust a lot, and he seems to get a lot of big plays on these broken down, like collapsing pockets that Lamar escapes out of and then just like floats it over the top of the defense. That is a pretty good skill to have, honestly, right? Just being able to find space and just like get on the same page as your quarterback. And he's pretty good at that, and Lamar's pretty good at that. So I feel like a good, strong tier 3 receiver. He's not definitely like a true alpha wide receiver 1, like if the Ravens got AJ Brown, obviously he'd lead the team in targets, but he is a pretty good player. He has turned into a pretty good player. And there's a lot of good receivers, man. Like, we might see a lot of receivers in this tier, honestly. I think receiver play is at an all-time high right now. There are some incredible receivers in the NFL. Pear Champ saying all the Patriots receivers are wide receiver 3 besides Diggs. Yeah, the room isn't the best right now, but they're working on it. They're trying their best. Burrow has great hands to throw to. That's not the problem. The issue is he's not getting enough pocket time to make the throws. His offensive line keeps crumbling like graham crackers and milk. Yeah, that has been a problem for Cincy for a while, right? Just haven't been able to get good, consistent pass protection. Burrow's been getting hurt a decent amount because of it. But they've made some investments. I feel like it was at least a little bit better last year, but still certainly not like the Bills or the Eagles or the Lions or anything like that, But yeah. We got Flame Raptor Raven in here. Awesome name, by the way. Welcome to the stream. Saying, as a Ravens fan, I'm not mad at the placement of Zay. He's great on jet sweeps, too. Yeah, I mean, he's really good with the ball in his hands. All in all, he's been a great pick for the Ravens, right? And it's funny, like, that was seen as one of the weaker wide receiver draft classes, but there have been some dudes from that class. There have been some dudes. Andrew saying wide receiver room matters a lot. You're just going to lose a lot of targets when you're playing on the field with Chase and Higgins. Yeah, that's true. You know what? You're right. My Yoshivas take might be decent. All right. Here we go. Rashad Bateman. Now, I'm not going to put him here. If he went to the Cowboys, maybe next year we'd have an interesting Rashad Bateman conversation. Rashad Bateman's another player I actually really, really like. And I liked how he got used in a few more variety of ways with the Ravens last year. If I'm going to steal a quote from Matt Harmon, right? Reception, perception, Yahoo, all that stuff. He coined the term like sacrificial X receiver, right? Just the guy that you put on the outside and he's running all these clear out routes. He's just going deep to take top off the defense, but he's never like really a part of the progression or anything like that. Just like someone that kind of like carries a few defenders with him. Man, the Ravens used to send Bateman on those types of routes all the time. They just had him out there doing cardio, right? He was never really that big of a part of the progression. But last year, they started to work him in the offense a little bit more. And honestly, I really liked what I saw. He's always been a pretty balanced receiver. He's got some nice size. He's a pretty good separator. He's pretty good down the field. I like a decent comp for him, like coming out of the draft was like Adam Thielen a little bit, right? I don't know. Career highs across the board for Rashad Bateman last year. Still not crazy volume necessarily, but he really passes the eye test. Every time I watch the Ravens, I'm like, oh, Rashad Bateman, kind of nice. Like, I feel like every time I watch the Ravens, he'd have a nice route or two, or a nice catch or two, or a big play or two, right? Man, the Cowboys almost traded for him this offseason. They were going to trade for either him or Pickens. And low key, even though I think Pickens is a little bit better, I really would have loved to see Rashad Bateman on the Cowboys as the clear number 2 behind CD. You got CD working out of the slot and then Bateman on the outside with a quarterback like Dak Prescott. I would have loved to see that, honestly. I would have loved to see Bateman get 100 targets for the first time in his career. I thought if he went to the Cowboys this year, he could have gone for like 1,000 yards. I am pretty high on Rashad Bateman, all things considered. I think that solid starter is a pretty fair spot for him. And he's just in an offense where he's not going to get crazy volume, but he's someone that really passes the eye test for me. I'm a big Rashad Bateman fan, and I also have him on my dynasty team. Maybe one day he'll be vindicated. Jack is saying the Knicks game is crazy. I suppose that's going on right now, right? What's the score for that game? Go New York, go New York, go. Knicks Pacers. Oh, gotta love it. We'll see if the Timber Puppies can get it done in game 2 here. Game 1 was kind of rough. I think I might have actually fouled SGA while streaming. So, Flame Raptor is saying before last year, Bateman would be unproven. He really broke out last season. Solid starter feels right, but he can be even better this year, that he could approach the high-end wide receiver 2 territory. I do unironically think his ceiling is this tier. I think there is a world where he would break into this tier. A lot of it just is, can he be just a little bit more consistent, and can we just get him a little bit more volume? But I'm a big Bateman fan. I am a big Bateman fan. All right, DeAndre Hopkins up next. Oh, man. Do I dare put him in depth piece at this point? I don't know. I mean, he had a few all right games for the Chiefs last year, but he also kind of disappeared down the stretch a little bit. He's also incredibly old. I mean, he's had an amazing career for a long time, but how old is he now? He'll be 33 by the time the season starts. I mean, for a wide receiver, that is pretty old. He's been in the league for over a decade now. Yeah, less than 500 yards on almost 60 targets. I don't know. And, the Chiefs brought him in after all the injuries that they had. And, maybe he'll like take on a big role. But he didn't I feel like he got quieter, if anything, the longer he spent in Kansas City, right? He had that 190-yard game, but like he really kind of faded down the stretch, and they really did not incorporate him in the offense at all. 33 is old. Ouch, I suppose. Yeah. Hey, I'm just a little kid, Yeah. I won't put him in Rut-Row Raggy game solved. There's a few I could see ending up in Rut-Row Raggy. We'll put him in depth piece. How about? I mean, I flirted with putting Jahan Dotson in Rut-Row Raggy, but we'll hold off on that for now. We'll put him as a depth piece, though. I mean, I feel like at this point in his career, that's what he is, right? I mean, he's wide receiver 3 on the Ravens, most likely, if not wide receiver 4. I think he's clearly behind like Flowers and Bateman at this point. I don't think there's any way that Hopkins should be getting more targets than Rashad Bateman next year. I would be kind of sad if that was the case, honestly. All right. Here's where things get crazy. I'm not going to lie. And as soon as I look it up, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm stupid. And it's going to be like this for a few players. I'm not going to lie. I won't even say I don't play as much Madden as I used to, because I still play plenty of Madden. I don't know who this is. I'm going to have to look him up real quick. Hold on a second. Ravens depth chart. I'm not going to lie. I do not know who that guy is. I don't recognize his face. That's what I'll say. There's no way it's Tylan Wallace, right? No. Devontes Walker. Why is Devontes Walker on this tier list? He had 1 catch last year. Screw it. We'll put him in Rut-Row Raggy. I mean, if he might fit the intriguing but unproven category a little bit more, right? But I don't know. I mean, if he was starting for the Ravens, I would be Rut-Row Raggy, right? I mean, respectfully, right? I say this as someone who's fairly unathletic myself, and again, there's a reason I'm doing this. But if we're gonna be honest, I think if you forced John Harbaugh to tell the truth and you're like, yo, Devontes Walker is going to be wide receiver 2 by week 6, you'd be like, Roro Raggy? They'd probably trade for someone. You know what I'm saying? He should not be starting, But he is young, so we'll see. He's a 4th round pick. I don't have much of a take on him, though, if you can't tell. But there we go. We have our first Roro Raggy. Garrett Wilson. Someone in chat was saying Garrett Wilson, true wide receiver 1. I want to think he can get there. And he's shown a lot. And he's been hamstrung by poor quarterback play and poor offenses. He doesn't quite have the consistency, though. I'm going to put him right here. I'm going to put him behind Devontae and T. Higgins, right behind them. I think he's got a little bit higher of a ceiling than these two guys, but he hasn't quite seemed to put it together. There's just a few plays that he takes off a little bit, just a few too many quiet games or concentration drops, right? There's been some rumblings that oh, he's been frustrated in New York a little bit. Man, there is a lot of talent to work with here, though, right? I mean, he is an incredibly talented wide receiver. He's a very, Devontae Adams is a decent comparison as far as play style goes. I would love to see him break into this tier this year, though. I do think that could happen. You don't think Justin Fields will make him break out? That is probably true. I mean, yeah, it's not the quarterback situation is amazing now, but he is pretty good. Yeah, he probably fits more good wide receiver 1 than high ends 2. Maybe he's a little better than T. Higgins. I'll put him ahead of T, but behind Devontae. How about that? I'll put him in the middle. But he has kind of been the same player. He hasn't quite taken that leap but I still think he can, though, right? I still think there is another level to him. We'll see if he can hit it this year. Yeah. Now that Bills game, that catch against the Bills was pretty sick. And that is fair. It's hard to be consistent with Zach Wilson and trippy Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, I think tier 3 is fair for Garrett Wilson. And again, with how many good receivers there are now, honestly, tier 3 is pretty good. We'll see. There's going to be some more guys that fill in this tier 2 in a little bit here. But Aguilar should be number 4 on that list. Lamar seems to really trust him. Yeah, I don't know why Nelson Aguilar is not on here, I guess. I don't know. But, maybe it's because he destroys my team, but I'd take Higgins over Wilson. You could make the argument, right? I feel like they're very different players. I do love me a good big X receiver. I do think Wilson offers just a little bit more after the catch. He's got a little bit more of a complete route tree. But Higgins is definitely better down the sideline on those go balls, jump balls, red zone, right? That is tough. I mean, we're really splitting hairs here comparing Garrett Wilson and T. Higgins. Two really good receivers. But, all right. I think this is Malachi Corley, but I'm going to look it up just to be sure. I'm pretty sure this is Malachi Corley, who did not have a great rookie season. Yeah, there he is. Man, 3 catches for 16 yards. I mean, he was always kind of a gadgety guy coming out of college, right? he was like someone's like, oh, if he gets the ball in his hands, he could be insanely good. He could be Deebo Samuel. Is Rutro Raggy a little harsh after just 1 year? I don't know. He wasn't that great, though. He was kind of a big disappointment. And he's just a very limited player as is. And he's like, if Deebo was like a little bit worse and didn't get the volume that he did, yeah. He's not on the same tier as like DeAndre Hopkins. We will put him in Rutro Raggy. We'll put him at the top of Rutro Raggy. I don't know what else. I was like, Rutro Raggy would be kind of funny, but Rutro Raggy. We'll put him in Rutro Raggy. We got 2 in there now. See, I'm not going to feel so bad and not put anyone there. We've got a few people in there now. Lazard, yeah, we'll put him in there too. Yeah, the Jets have a few Rutro Raggy moments. Oh, man. Jack is saying Eric knows how high I was on Wilson last year. OPOY, baby. Hey, I respected that take, though. Honestly, I thought that was a pretty good shout last year. I can't get mad at that whatsoever. I saw the vision with that. It was going to be Rodgers to Devontae all over again. And then they just actually got Devontae. Oh, man. Been talking a lot. A little hoarse. All right. Let's lock in. Okay. You know what's crazy? I know this face. I know exactly who this person is, but I cannot think of their name whatsoever right now. And I'm assuming he's on the Patriots, right? Because then there's Diggs, and then there's a Patriot, and then there's Kyle Williams and Jalen Polk. I don't know who this is, though. Hold on. We gotta look some more people up. If anyone in chat knows who that is, please help me out here. Jets are Rutro Raggy personified. Who on earth is that? It's not Mac Hollins, I know that. It's not Kendrick Bourne. They're wearing a Broncos jersey. Who is this person? This is killing me. Is it Marvin Mims? Is that what Marvin Mims looks like? Did they just have it organized wrong? No, that's not. Who on earth is that guy? We might have to come back to him. We'll go to Stephon Diggs. Diggs, I feel like, is somewhere between this tier. I might put him coming off an injury and he's just a little bit older. I'll put him ahead of Bateman. Sorry, there we go. I'll put him at the top of solid starter. I do think there is a world where he's still a good wide receiver 1 or high ends 2. He was honestly pretty good for the Texans. I will put him in here. He was pretty good for the Texans last year, and I don't want to overreact too much, right? Like, okay, he got hurt. Maybe he'll bounce back. I'll put him like near the bottom of tier 3. I could see a world where he goes more into tier 4 this season. But, when he was out there for Houston last year, he was pretty clearly their second best receiver. Stroud trusted him a lot. They had a pretty nice connection, and he still runs some pretty nice routes. He was still out there moving pretty well. Still pretty good in the red zone, right? Not quite as dynamic after the catch. Not quite as much of a big play threat. It's Josh Reynolds. Oh, my gosh. Is Josh Reynolds on the Patriots now? Bro, that's crazy. Is Josh Reynolds on the Patriots? I'm sorry, Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds. Or did they just get out of order for a second? Oh, he's on the Jets. He's the last guy on the Jets. Okay. Yeah. Josh Reynolds. He was on the Jags for a little bit too. That's right. He got traded last season. He was with the Lions for a little bit. Josh Reynolds isn't bad. We'll put him in depth piece. We'll put him ahead of Jahan Dotson. How about that? Unfortunately, a lot of people might remember him for his drops in the playoffs, but honestly, he was pretty good for the Lions that year. And then he just didn't get quite as many opportunities this past year. We'll see where he sticks with the Jets, but I feel like he's a solid depth piece. He's a guy, like if there's injuries and he has to come in and be like wide receiver 3, honestly, that's not the worst thing in the world. Thank you, Chet, for Josh Reynolds. Dude, I would not have come up with that. I was like, I've seen this face before. And especially seeing him in a Broncos uniform, that really threw me off. But there we go. We figured it out. Josh Reynolds. Yeah, me too. Jaguars legend Josh Reynolds. Yeah. All right. Well, we solved that mystery. Yeah. And oh yeah, Diggs. We'll put Diggs in tier 3. Okay. Is that Pop Douglas? Is that Pop Douglas? Pop Douglas was honestly kind of good for the Patriots last year. No, that is not Pop Douglas. Is that Kendrick Bourne? No, it is not Kendrick Bourne. Oh, Lord, we've got another mystery. Come on. I swear I'm not a casual. Javon Baker? Nope. Kayshon Boutte? There we go. Kayshon Boutte. Okay. He had a few nice plays with Drake May last year. I almost want to put him in intriguing but unproven. His stock kind of tumbled at LSU a little bit, right? Jack is saying raggy. I don't know. He had a decent year last year. He's a little bit better than I thought he was going to be, right? There was a lot of hype for him coming out of LSU, and then he had a very quiet rookie season, but he saw the field a little bit more last year. He had a few nice plays with Drake May, right? There's always been a little bit of talent. Patriots took a late round flyer on him. I'm willing to give him one more year here to see where he sticks in this wide receiver room, right? Even though they've added some guys, it's still very up for grabs here. There's still a lot of targets to be had. And I could see a world where, like, he establishes himself as, like... I'll see, it's tough to put him above these guys, right? Maybe I need to move this tier down. That makes a little bit more sense. I like that a little bit more. Although there are a few guys that I created this tier for that I might be tempted to put above this tier. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Is his name really pronounced Booty? It's either Booty or Bout. I've heard both, to be honest. I've already gotten a few names wrong today. It is Booty, though. I swear it's Booty. Maybe it's not. But yeah, dude, I need to lock in for some of these pronunciations. Yo, welcome to the stream, Parker. I think I might have saw you say something in chat earlier, but appreciate you tuning in, Parker. Let's go. Let's go. A wide receiver 3 tier could help. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I have like, oh, good wide receiver 1s and 2s, but no 3 or anything. It is. Okay, 90% sure it's Booty. Let's go. Let's go. If Doc doesn't know him, then Rutro Raggy, he belongs. Well... I don't know. Then there'd be a lot, because there's just like some faces. It's like, I have no idea who this guy is off the top of my head. But we'll put him in here for now. We'll figure out maybe some of the ordering of the tiers later. But we're kind of figuring things out on the fly right now. Okay, this is Kyle Williams. I actually know this. I really like Kyle Williams. We are going to move this back up, and then we're just going to make him as a depth piece, honestly. We'll put him ahead of Dotson. I just need to reorder it. I have got a better grasp of what this tier is now. I actually really like Kyle Williams. I thought this was a great pick for the Patriots. Was it round 3? I thought he could have gone second rounds, and I would have been like, yeah, great. Makes sense to me, right? He is a little similar to Diggs, but just like a little bit more explosive, you know? He's someone that's really good on these crossing routes, these dig routes. He's pretty good down the sideline. And I couldn't tell you, like, off the top of my head what his 40 time is. But, man, if you watched him at Washington State, it's like, okay, this guy is fast. Honestly, I don't really care, like, what 40 time he runs. I know when he puts on the pads, he's going to be fast. I am very intrigued to see how Kyle Williams does year 1 with Drake May. I think I would give him a better shot than Kayshon Boutte, catching on and like being a guy that Drake May can trust. But we'll see. Again, this is a very open receiver room, but I'm a big fan of Kyle Williams. And I will say there are some like rookies that I will probably have higher than intriguing but unproven. There'll be a little bit of projection there, right? But there might be some guys that I slide into like here. Oh, maybe even here? No way. No, right? There's no way I can do that. We'll see. All right, this one I know. This is Jalen Polk. Jack is saying Jalen Polk is raggy. I liked him a decent amount coming out of college, but he was incredibly quiet year 1, right? Just didn't really see the field all that much. Neither did Javon Baker, who's another guy that I kind of liked. Yeah, 12 catches for 87 yards. Yeah. We'll put him at the top of Raggy. How about that? Raggy. Solid starters, wide receiver 3. Yeah, I feel like in spirit, solid starter might be a little bit higher than wide receiver 3. You know what? Screw it. You guys are right. I'm gonna add a tier on the fly. We're gonna add a row below, and we are gonna do wide receiver 3. That might actually make things a little bit better. We'll see if I actually stick with this or not. You know what? No, I've changed my mind again. we're just gonna stick with what we had. Maybe I'll like be a little bit more organized going into my next one, but we'll make it work for now. Raggy says Matt T. If Jalen Polk isn't Raggy, then no one is. All right. Sorry, I just keep laughing at Raggy. Pop Douglas. Honestly, he might be the second Patriot that goes in intriguing but unproven. Another guy that I honestly thought had a pretty good year, all things considered. He's a bit more of like a gadgety type of guy, right? You have to scheme things up for him a little bit more, but he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. I liked seeing the improvement in production from year 1 to year 2, right? Bit of a smaller guy. He's never going to be out here like beating press coverage or anything. But I think the Patriots have figured out like how they can use him, you know? He makes sense in their offense. He might not be like, he might not ever break into this tier. Could he become a solid starter though? Maybe. Of course, Polk scored a TD against the Seahawks. Yeah. These tiers are raggy. Fair enough. All right. Tyreek Hill. We had it in the thumbnail. We're going to drop him into tier 3. I don't know. He's another one of those guys I was kind of alluding to. I might factor in age a little bit, at least going into this season, right? I'll put him at the top of tier 3. He is coming off a down year. Obviously, some of that is Tua got hurt, right? Failed to crack 1,000 yards. He still obviously like had some good games last year, but he just had a few more drops, just a few more games where he was kind of out of it a little bit, right? And I think I might have said this last week. Excuse me. He just turned 31, and so much of his game has been built off of just being like the fastest dude on the field, right? And just how much space he creates because defenses have to respect his speed so much. As he gets a little bit older, as these hits just kind of pile up a little bit more, right? You lose a little bit of that speed. And he's not like a bad receiver outside of his speed. Like, he can go high point the ball. He's a decent route runner, but I don't know. I think top of tier 3 seems to be fair for Tyreek Hill at this point in his career. Maybe he goes out and he has like 1,300 yards with Tua healthy again, but I do wonder like a year from now if we're going to be like, is Tyreek Hill the best receiver on the Dolphins, or has Waddle kind of overtaken him a little bit? I've got my eye on him a little bit, just a little bit. I know like the age is harsh, right? Like obviously in real life, if you're 31, like that's pretty young, right? But in the NFL, man, it's an unforgiving beast, right? You start to turn 30, that clock ticks just a little bit as far as your physical prime goes, It's a tough and unforgiving business, but especially for like a position like wide receiver, you lose one step, man, you got to find a way to compensate for that. And so much of Tyreek Hill's game is just zoom, So, but all that being said, still like probably a borderline top 10 receiver, if not a top 10 receiver. So I feel like that's pretty fair too. But Tyreek is 31. Next year he'll be in the retirement home. That's awesome. Yeah, my first name is Eric. My government name, as I like to say, made Tom Grossi laugh once saying that. True story, by the way. I once made Tom Grossi laugh. Pearchamp made his own tier rankings for wide receivers and may have added a few more rows, posted it in the memes channel. Let's go. I'm loving the Discord participation. That's awesome. I love when people play along with me on stuff like this. Yeah, if you want to go make your own, put it in Discord or something like that, go for it. I always love looking at these. I love going through and seeing what other people think. So that's awesome. Let's go. All right, Nick Westbrook Akine. Jack is saying best of best. Dude, Loki had like 10 touchdowns last year. It was kind of crazy. I'll put him near the bottom of solid starter. Honestly, he did have a pretty good year last year. And obviously touchdowns aren't everything, right? Touchdowns can be a little bit fluky. But he's kind of stuck around for a while now. I feel like he is a good wide receiver 3. If there was a wide receiver 3 tier, he would be like the embodiment of it, right? He is like the median wide receiver. Maybe if you want to say depth piece, you could. He's also a guy that hasn't necessarily been in the craziest offenses ever as far as volume goes or quarterback play. I guess Tannehill was pretty good in 21, but you know what I mean, right? And I mean, 9 touchdowns is kind of crazy. 9 touchdowns on 32 catches, but he can stretch the field a little bit, right? He's not bad. He's not bad. He is on the Dolphins now, which is interesting. I'm curious to see how much they actually use him this year. But I feel like wide receiver 3 for the Dolphins, like I think he's better. I think he's better than like Braxton Berrios, if that makes sense. I think he'll play the Braxton Berrios role better than Braxton Berrios did. So we'll put Nick Westbrook Akine in the solid, near the bottom of the solid starter tier. I should put that on my resume. Made Tom Grossi laugh once. That's awesome. Yeah. For those that might not know, this was back when this channel like first got started. Actually, this was a while ago. It was Eagles versus Vikings, Thursday Night Football, Week 2 of the 2023 season. And Tom Grossi raided me. I've had a couple of Grossi raids, actually. Some of you guys in here might be from the Grossi raid. But I was like introducing myself. I'm like, well, I'm Dr. Pigskin. That's not my government name. And I got a little chuckle out of him, you know? And I still think about that from time to time. I should put it on my resume. Put it on my LinkedIn. Hey, ESPN, do you know I made Tom Grossi laugh once? Hire me. Let's go. Knicks game going crazy right now. I think I am cheering for the Knicks. I wouldn't mind if the Pacers won either, honestly. I'd be happy with either team being in the finals, but we both know they're going to lose to the Timber Puppies. So, you know. All right. Jalen Waddle. We're going to put him in the same tier as Tyreek. Oh, Waddle's another guy. I feel like Waddle and Garrett Wilson are like very similar caliber of player, and that like, man, I think there's a world where like even Jalen Waddle could break into this tier, but he just hasn't quite been there. And he's another guy that struggled with drops and disappeared in a few big games, but he is a more complete receiver than I think he gets credit for. I'm really struggling between like one of these 3 spots right here. We'll put him here just because, I don't know, he has had a few too many games. Just like, that's just one too many drops. But he's a very good underneath receiver. Like he is not just a deep threat whatsoever. He's not just like good like after the catch on these short underneath routes, right? But he's really good at just like snapping his routes off quick again. He's a guy that can run like short little in-breaking routes. He's good on slants. He's good in motion. He's good on end arounds, right? He's a much more complete receiver than just like, going downfield and like deep balls, you know? I mean, he and Tyreek Hill are maybe slightly redundant. They don't have like that big body or anything, but man, just the amount of speed that they present, the amount of conflicts that they put the defense in. It is pretty fun to watch when they are clicking. So I'll still have him behind Tyreek. Tyreek is still probably the better receiver for right now, but that is one thing I'm going to have my eye on. It's like, is there a world where Jalen Waddle gets more targets than Tyreek Hill next year? I don't know. I'm just keeping my eye on him, but Waddle is a player that I really, really like. I know there's like some people that are super high on Jalen Waddle. But again, like kind of a weird year for him last year. I didn't realize he had that few receiving yards, but it was just a few years ago, man. He had 1,300 yards. He's still like probably about to hit the prime of his career, right? How old is he? 26 years old. He'll be 26 at the start of the season. Yeah, he's a good player. That first year with Tua, before Mike McDaniel got there, Waddle was like, he played like a Wes Welker type of role in that offense. Like he was just like a slot technician, you know? He's got a lot to his game. I do like him. Jack says Waddle's interesting to me. He's someone that just like, man, if he could stay healthy and Tua could stay healthy, I'd be curious to see what numbers he could put up with like 150 targets, you know? But we'll see. He hasn't fully broken out though. All right. Calvin Ridley up next. We'll have Calvin Ridley as a solid starter. We'll have him ahead of Yoshivas. He's still at a few. I don't know if this is a spicy take or not. Rashad Bateman over Calvin Ridley. I like that, honestly. I like Bateman over Ridley. But obviously Ridley's had a very up and down, uneven career a little bit. So much promise with the Falcons and the whole gambling thing. And I'm surprised he got to 1,000 yards last year. Really? Wow. That's kind of surprising. I'll still have him behind Bateman, though. But yeah, I remember, dude, I loved him on the Jaguars. When he went to the Jaguars, I was like, let's go, baby. Trevor Lawrence got his stuff on Diggs. And then they tried to make him an X. You know, it just never really caught on, but he's a good player. All things considered, solid starter seems fair for Calvin Ridley. Flame Raptor is saying that 1,300-yard season is looking like an outlier, but he could break out in the coming years. Yeah, maybe that 2022 season as a whole for the Dolphins offense was an outlier. Maybe he won't 1,300 yards again. Could he get to like 1,150 though? I think that could happen. Welcome, Bear Pod. Good to have you back in here. Let's go. We have not gotten to George Pickens yet. I know this is ordered by two. We have so many receivers we still need to do. I might speed it up just a tiny bit here. I will say, like I'd mentioned earlier, I was a little bit hoarse. I don't know what it is, but I did feel like a little hoarseness in my throat earlier today. I don't know. It's probably nothing. But we might speed up just a tiny bit here because we've got a lot. But we're having fun now. All right. Tyler Lockett up next. I know Jack was talking about him. I think, yeah, hate to say it, but Lockett at this point is a depth piece. Yeah, I'd agree with you. I feel like right next to like DeAndre Hopkins seems fair, right? We'll put him above Hopkins. He's just very old, right? It is a shame that he's not in Seattle anymore. By all accounts, just a great guy. He's had a really, really good career. There was a time where you could certainly have him in this good wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 tier, but you know, age gets to everyone, right? The retirement home is calling. You know, he's in his 30s now. That's just how it is. But we'll have him next. We'll be here till 1 a.m. I know. All right. Who is this person? It's a Titan, right? Who is this person? That's not. Oh my gosh. I know the Titans drafted a few receivers. And there's that one guy I'm thinking of that I would like butcher his name. I know this guy's on the Titans. They just drafted him, right? No, it's not him. He went to Stanford. Oh my gosh. It's not Restrepo, is it? It is. Okay, that is Restrepo. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I did not know what Xavier Restrepo looked like. We'll have him as a depth piece. I think he'll make the team, right? He's Cam Ward's guy, right? They played together. They had a pretty good connection. I think he'll at least make the team. The 40 time is obviously not ideal, right? And I think that's a big reason why he went undrafted. But I think he could, for an undrafted free agent, being a depth piece, that's not bad. So we'll put Restrepo there. He hasn't been photographed yet. Yeah. I know like a lot of these rookies, they haven't gotten their official headshot yet. So yeah, we have some college headshots. There's Alec Ianamayor. Dude, we'll just put him right next to Restrepo, honestly. I won't lie, I don't know a ton about this guy. I didn't dive into him too much during the draft process. And I don't even know how to say his name. So we'll have him as a depth piece though, right? He is like a good blocker, if I recall correctly. Like he was the crazy, like maybe the best blocking receiver in the draft class. So let's go. Our depth piece is proven. Good question from Bear Pod. Yes and no, I guess. I mean, you've got a few rookies and then like a few very old vets. I feel like these are guys that like are a little bit more specialized in their role, right? Like they're maybe like a wide receiver 4, but like, for example, like Tyler Lockett, wide receiver 4, but like, okay, nice slot receiver still. Or Restrepo, okay, another slot receiver, or this guy, I'm not even going to try his name, but okay, he's a good blocker. Get him out there on screens and get him blocking a corner, something like that, right? Jahan Dotson, yay, no one's looking, let's throw it to Jahan Dotson, right? Nice little depth piece. Or if a guy gets hurt, like, okay, they can step in and be wide receiver 3 for a few games, something like that. But Io Maynor. There we go. Alec Io Namor. All right, we got it. There we go. Thank you, Matt T. I always try and get the names right, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know, man. All right, Khalil Shakir. We're going to have him pretty high up. I don't know if I'll quite put him in this tier 3. Okay, now things got screwed up a little bit. Hold on a second. You were here. We're going to put Shakir... We're going to put Shakir at the top of solid starter. I love me some Khalil Shakir. If you really want to try and talk me into putting him as a high-end wide receiver too, you totally could. I do think he's a little bit more limited in just like, oh, he's a slot guy. He's good after the catch, and he's a pretty good blocker. But those are 3 really good skills to have. He's just such a dog with the ball in his hands. I just love the way he plays. He'll never be like a true number 1 or anything like that, right? And I think that might be what prevents him from like breaking into this tier. He's not like great on the outside or anything like that. You don't necessarily want him going up against a bunch of press coverage, but man, he is a good player though. I love Khalil Shakir, but I feel like solid starter. Top of this tier seems fair. These are like 2 of my guys right here. I love me some Khalil Shakir. So yeah, he could play. All right, Keon Coleman, we'll put you in intriguing but unproven. We'll put him at the top, right? He had an interesting rookie season. He did have a few bad drops. I think of that one drop that led to a Josh Allen interception, but he also had a few nice games. I think about his game against the Lions. He had like another really good game, right? Was it against the Chiefs? But I don't know, he showed a little bit. I liked him coming out of the draft. I thought he was faster than his 40 time would suggest. I thought he was a little bit better of a separator than some of his advanced numbers would suggest, right? I didn't necessarily love the way that Florida State used him in their offense. They didn't really get him like on a lot of slants or anything. It went for $125 against the Titans. Oh, he did not play in the Chiefs game. Oopsies. But it was a bit of an up and down season, right? They also brought in Amari Cooper, and there was just a lot of mouths to feed. But I think with Amari Cooper gone now, he's a guy I could see maybe taking a step forward this year. And he and Shakir complement each other pretty well. Yeah, I think intriguing but unproven seems fair. But I'll put him at the top of this tier. I am curious to see what else Keon Coleman's got cooking here. Elijah Moore, we'll say you're a depth piece. Man, so many people have been burned by Elijah Moore. We'll put you at the top of depth piece. Josh Palmer, we'll put closer to the bottom of depth piece. We'll put Josh Palmer above Josh Reynolds. How about that? Palmer's a bit more of just like a deep threat. Oh, he's big and tall and fast, you know. But yeah, the Bills have a lot of depth pieces, one intriguing guy, and then a guy I really like. And then this is Curtis Samuel, who's also probably a depth piece. We'll put him above Elijah Moore, though. I do like me Curtis Samuel some. He's good on end arounds, right? He's nice. Thielen, I'll put Thielen in solid starter. He's definitely lost a step, and he's a little bit more limited now. He's just, oh, nope. Okay, I don't know why. My mouse is being a little silly now. He's definitely just way more limited and just like more of a slot-only guy at this point. My mic fell down a little bit too, so hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit more now. Maybe that's why I got quiet too. I know my mic is in a weird spot right now. But even that, like just being a big slot receiver, honestly, he was still pretty good for the Panthers last year. Obviously, he had like the random 100-catch, 1,000-yard season the year before where like he was just the only guy and they just fed him the rock. But I think like Adam Thielen being the Panthers' potential wide receiver 2 or 3, honestly, is not that big of a deal. So we'll put him above like Nick Westbrook-Akine. but behind Yoshivas. I feel like that's a fair spot for him. Liget, we'll put him in intriguing but unproven. He had kind of a frustrating rookie year in the sense that like he did a lot better job getting open and separating than I thought he would. But then he struggled at like catching and high pointing the ball and winning these contested catches, which you'd think it'd be the other way around, right? Based off of how he was in college, you'd think like, oh, he's the big bodied receiver that's going to go dunk on people, but I wonder if he's going to be able to get open or not. Really, it was the other way around, though. He honestly showed a little bit as a route runner. He was kind of winning on the outside a little bit, but he just had so many drops. It was a frustrating year for him. I'm going to put him in intriguing, though, because if he could catch the ball, he could turn into a decent receiver. He's a guy I've got my eye on a little bit. All right, Teteroa McMillan. Here we go. We're starting to speed up a little bit more, right? I feel like we're getting into a groove now. We're rolling. We still have so many, dude. We still have so many to do. But we're going to get rolling. Teteroa McMillan. See, obviously, he's unproven in the fact that like he hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet, right? But I've beat this to death at this point. I really, really like Teteroa McMillan. We're going to put him right here. We're going to put him right here for now. But I think he could certainly, like, even by the end of year one, he could break into this tier. I really do. I think he is going to be the number one guy for the Panthers. He's a guy that can play on the outside or in the slot. He's pretty good after the catch. He dunks on people. I don't know. I'm in on T-Mac. We'll put him behind Bateman and Shakir for now because it's tough for me to put like a rookie that's not like Travis Hunter ahead of those guys. But I don't know. We'll see. Caden said we're not even halfway. No, we are not. So we're going to speed up a little bit more. All right. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Here we go. We got a guy in a higher tier. We're going to put him as a true wide receiver 1. Even though he might be a bit more of a slot-only guy, I know there's some people that like to ding St. Brown for like, oh, he doesn't beat corners that often. Oh, he just has to be schemed up a little bit more. Maybe. But he's got insane hands. He's a really good route runner. He's pretty good after the catch. He's a phenomenal blocker. And the production at a certain point speaks for itself, right? I mean, he is the true number one of the Lions offense. Maybe he doesn't like dictate coverage quite as much as like some of the other, like he's not quite as much of a coverage bender as AJ Brown is, but he's so good from the slot. I'm willing to overlook it a little bit. I will put him in this tier for sure. I think this is pretty fair. True wide receiver 1. Yeah. Top 10 wide receiver for sure. Great player. Jameson Williams. I'm almost tempted to sneak him into here, honestly. Jameson Williams is pretty darn good, dude. He took a big leap forward this year. He's still, like, if he could just get a little bit better at tracking the ball, I think he would put himself in this tier. We'll put him as a solid starter for now, though. Yeah, I feel like that is fair. Jack is saying Jamo's a solid starter. We'll put him ahead of McMillan. Man, Bateman over Jameson Williams is kind of crazy. I don't know that I could get down with that. We'll put him at the top of solid starter, honestly. I feel like these three guys are pretty close, but Jameson still has a crazy ceiling. I still think he could take another step forward this year. There's a lot to like about this game, and we've seen him cook the Vikings plenty of times before. A rookie that's not Travis Hunter. Oh, we'll see where the beast ends up. All right. Isaac Tesla. Man, I don't want to put him in Ruh-Roh Rag. He hasn't even played a snap yet. We'll put him here. I don't know, man. He's a big body. I've watched just like a tiny bit of him just because I was curious. After seeing the Lions draft him, it's like, okay, what does this guy have, right? Like, clearly Brad Holmes is intrigued by this guy for a reason, you know. We'll see. DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore tier 3 does seem fair. We'll put him... Oh, geez. Now everything's all screwed up. We'll put him We'll put him ahead of Zay Flowers, but behind Jalen Waddle. I've said this a few times now. He just had a very interesting year with the Bears last year. A lot of like effort concerns and stuff. He's maybe not like the most refined route runner ever, but he's really good down the field. He's really good on screens. He's really good with the ball in his hands. And he's produced a lot. He's produced a lot with some pretty bad quarterback play. So I still like his game a lot overall, even though he might be in a weird spot with the Bears right now. If the Bears choose to move on from him at some point, some other team will be happy that they bring him in, though. I feel like good wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. Yeah, that seems fair. Welcome to the stream, Aerosef. Appreciate the super chat, as always. Let's go. Thank you. Say, nice ad blocker, buddy. Yeah, they made me turn it off here if I wanted to use this website. They hit me with the little pop-up, so I don't have the ad blocker right now. It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. I normally have AdBlock Plus running though, so we try our best. Henry saying targets are really going to dry up for DJ Moore this season. Yeah, probably. Or will they? That's crazy. I think I have him on the trade block in our Dynasty League. No, they won't, dude. Ben Johnson's going to feed him. Do you want to trade for DJ Moore? I've tried shopping him already. I tried... Jackson had someone on the trade block, and so I threw in DJ Moore. I was like, I don't want DJ Moore. I'm like, no, yeah, you do. He's good. And Ben Johnson's there. You want him, don't you? Oh, this is Luther Burden. I was like, who is this guy? Luther Burden. We'll put him in intriguing but unproven. We'll put him ahead of Kyle. No, he won't. I said I liked Kyle Williams more than Luther Burden. I'm gonna stand on business. Honestly, like a decent comp for him really is DJ Moore, just the way that they play, their strengths and their limitations. So that's why I'm just like, I don't know. They took him second round. Interesting. Rome Odunze. Jack said Rome tier 3. He's an Odunze believer. Oh, okay. My mouse is going crazy. I'll say tier 4. I think he's like, I'd put him about even with T-Mac, honestly. Panthers biased. We're going to put McMillan ahead of him. I do like Odunze, though, and I liked him a lot coming out of the draft. We'll see. Low-key, I'd be interested to see how much Odunze works out of the slot this next season. I do wonder if, like, Ben Johnson is almost going to use him as the Amon-Ra St. Brown, or if it'll be Colston Loveland a little bit, right? I do think we might see a little bit more of Odunze in the slot this season, though. I am pretty interested to see how Ben Johnson uses Rome Odunze, but classic X receiver for the most part. Can put him inside a little bit if you want that big power slot, and he did have some nice moments for the Bears last year. All right, we're going to try and... This is driving me crazy. That made it 10 times worse. Hold on a second. 1 second. Okay, the mic has come off of the stand. Hold on, bear with me. We did it. We're good. I felt like an injured player there when he was like getting carted off, giving the thumbs up, showing that everything is okay. Oh, all right. Always something. But yeah, the mic, sometimes with this table that I have it clamped onto, it just gets a little funky and it tilts a little bit. But, we've got it. It's a little bit closer to my face now. Hopefully y'all can hear me a little bit better. I know there's some audio issues earlier. Oh my lord, I still have so many to do. I should get a technical difficulties screen so you don't just like see me awkwardly off in the corner trying to fix something. Maybe that'll be a nice little summer project for me. But Jack is saying Lamb is best of the best. Ooh, he wants to put him all the way up there. I'm going to put him in tier 2. I'm going to put him behind AJ Brown. This is not a knock on CeeDee Lamb by any means. I think he's an incredible player. He's a tad bit more limited than like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson or even like AJ Brown. Just a tad bit more of a slot only guy. But he's so dynamic, and you can play him outside. This is not me saying like, oh, you can't play him outside at all. He did have like one of the more slept on insane seasons ever. Like even just a few years ago, I've got caps lock on for some reason. He went for 1,700 yards and 135 catches back in 2023. I mean, I know there's the extra game, you know. AJ's never had a 1,700 yard season. Has AJ ever had 181 targets though? Right? I mean, he has never quite had the volume of CeeDee, I would say. Yeah, 158 is his career high. I don't know, man. And they're giving him a lot of easy looks. A.J. Brown usually just gets slightly tougher looks, winning down on the sideline. Just has to beat press coverage just a little bit more, you know. Hey, this is not a knock on CeeDee whatsoever. He is an unbelievable wide receiver. He is a true wide receiver one. I think I have A.J. Brown just a little bit above him, though. I think if we're going to really split hairs, I think A.J. Brown's just a little bit more complete, does a few more things than CeeDee Lamb, but two phenomenal, unbelievable receivers, and I'll put him above St. Brown. We've got to the other Cowboys receivers. Who is that? Well, I don't know who that is. Let's pull up the Cowboys depth chart and just start putting faces to names here. I mean, I know like the names, obviously, right? I saw George Pickens down there. They haven't put him there. Okay, so that's Jalen Tolbert. Jonathan Mingo. That's who that is. Jonathan Mingo. I don't know. We might have another Rutro Raggy on our hands, honestly. We'll put him above Lazard, but yeah, he's kind of turned out to be a little bit of a bust. And I don't know. He was a big miss for my precious Panthers. You made a who? That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to look up some of these guys. We'll put Jonathan Mingo and Rutro Raggy. Let's do Jalen Tolbert since we know this is Jalen Tolbert. Also, I love the random. Oh, maybe not. Oh no, there is is there like an apostrophe there? There is. Nice. Jalen Tolbert will have as a depth piece. Honestly, he had some moments with the Cowboys last year. He's all right. He's all right. Depth piece is starting to get a little crowded. Raggy. Ron is saying he's a Cowboys fan and he thinks St. Brown is better. If you want to make the case, I won't hate you for it whatsoever. I think CeeDee just has a little bit more juice than Amon-Ra, though. All right. Who is that guy? Let's play a game. Who is that? Is that Kevontae Turpin? Is that who it is? It is Turpin. See, crazy return man. If this was a return man tier list, best of the best. Depth piece. We'll put him as a depth piece. We'll have him behind Tolbert. I think Tolbert's a little bit better of a receiver than him. We'll have him right here. That seems about fair. Jaden Reed. Now we're to the Packers. The team order of this is very interesting. Jaden Reed was someone who had a really strong start to last season and had a nice rookie year, but just completely disappeared the second half of last season. I don't want to say he's like a gadgety guy, but he's just a little bit more specialized. We'll have him as a solid starter. We'll have him behind Ridley, but ahead of Yoshivas. That seems all right. Matthew Golden will have as intriguing but unproven. He is a rookie that I'm just like a little more skeptical about. I do like the fit for him with the Packers, right? They need someone that just can like stretch the field a little bit more, especially without Christian Watson. And he's another guy that I've kind of like compared to Diggs before, just like the different routes that they excel at, you know, how you use him on the field as the slot guy or the Z guy, get him in motion, right? There's a lot of these types of players in the NFL right now. There is some question of like, okay, we saw a few nice moments from him at Texas, but like he was never really the wide receiver one until Isaiah Bond got hurt, and he was never super productive at, was it Houston, right? And he ran an insane 40, but the speed is there, but it doesn't quite match up with what you might see on his 40-yard dash. But in LaFleur we trust, in Jordan Love we trust. I'll say intriguing but unproven, right around like where Keon Coleman is. I feel like he and Keon Coleman were like similar level prospects coming out of the draft. I feel like that's pretty fair. I'll have him at Kyle Williams though. But I had him as my wide receiver 4, if you count Travis Hunter, right? Which you should. Caden is saying wide receiver 1. We'll see, man. Maybe Matt LaFleur's got something cooked up for us. Who knows? Here's Romeo. Are you saying that for Romeo Dobbs? I mean, hey, if you were making this, you'd put Dobbs right here. Dobbs, we will have as like a solid starter or a depth piece. Jack was saying, put every Packers receiver in solid starter. I mean, Romeo Dobbs, honestly, when he was playing last year, he had some nice moments. He's a very specialized player. These Packers receivers, they all seem to know their role pretty well, right? Reed is like the gadgety guy that you get in space. Dobbs is the X. Golden you've got as the Z in the slot. Watson's the other X and like the deep threat, right? Like they all know their roles. Dontavion Wicks is the beast waiting to be unleashed, who I don't see on here. We'll put Dobbs here. How about? But guess who NFL would go crazy? Maybe that'll be a fun stream for the offseason. That would be kind of fun. I'd like that. Christian Watson, man. It's crazy because he's been in the NFL for a few years now. I almost want to put him in this tier, like unproven, just because I feel like we've barely seen like a full season from him. We'll put him in solid starter. He's better than Thielen. Man, we are really just throwing all the Packers receivers in here. Wow, Jack saying in his humble opinion, Neighbors is the second best receiver on the list so far. Whoo, baby. That is a spicy take. Well, we've gotten to Malik Neighbors. I'm not going to say the best. I am going to put him here, though. I really do think he's already solidified himself in this tier. He is an unbelievable player. I said this, I think it was last week. I could see him winning like Offensive Player of the Year at some point in his career. Every single ounce of what made him a great player at LSU and made him worthy of the 5th overall pick, we saw right away year one. Did not matter the quarterback situation or the team around him or anything. Man, he just went in there and balled out right away. I am blown away by how good he is, man. LSU is wide receiver U, not Nevada, unfortunately. Yeah, I have no issue, even after just one season, putting Neighbors here as a true wide receiver 1. There's one other second-year receiver out of LSU who's going to find himself in that tier too. I'm low-key like tempted to put him over St. Brown. I won't quite go that far because that is crazy, but I have no issue putting him right here. Darius Slayton. Solid starter. Sounds like a solid starter to me. We'll put him above Westbrook Akine. Westbrook Akine might be the last guy, the solid starter tier. And honestly, like, if we're going to be real, I might bump Westbrook Akine down, actually, now that this tier list is rounded out a little bit more, because it just does not seem right that he's ahead some of these guys. We'll put him right here. We'll put him as the top guy depth piece. He's not better than Keon Coleman. I'm sorry. Pearchip is saying the Packers have nice moments, but nothing crazy. Yeah. Jalen Hyatt is retro raggy. He might be, unfortunately. Let me just double check that is Jalen Hyatt. I spelled his name wrong too. That's cool. I will say Alabama said retro raggy when they played against him, but yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot. Is that Jalen Hyatt? Jalen Hyatt is retro raggy. He might be, unfortunately. Let me just double check that is Jalen Hyatt. I will say Alabama said retro raggy when they played against him, but yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot. Is that Jalen Hyatt? Is that Jalen Hyatt? I don't think that's not Jalen Hyatt though, is it? Shoot. Who is that? Who is that? Is that Wan'Dale Robinson? That's got to be who it is, right? Wan'Dale Robinson actually got quite a bit of run last year. His like average depth of target had to be like 3 yards or something like that. I mean, it was just like get the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson as fast as possible for that offense last year. That's got to be Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, it is. He had 93 catches for 699 yards. Yeah, solid starter seems fair, right? 93 catches for Wan'Dale Robinson is kind of crazy. We'll put him ahead of Slayton and Thielen. We'll put Watson above Dobbs too. I don't know. This got out of order a little bit, but Brandon Ayuk. Dude, if I was doing this last year, I would have put Brandon Ayuk here. We're going to put him in tier 3 though. He had kind of a rocky year. He did have his injury problems. I still do really, really like his game. This is a big drop from like I legit had him as like a wide receiver 8 last off season. We're gonna put him above Waddle. I do still really like Brandon Ayuk, though. He's got a nice build. He's an unbelievable route runner, and he's really good downfield. I mean, he is a very complete receiver, and the 49ers need him for how much they work the middle of the field with McCaffrey and, well, I guess Debo's not there anymore, but when he was there, and Kittle, right, and even like Juszczyk. All of it was so congested in the middle of the field. To have that guy on the outside that can space things out a little bit and be as good as he is, like, it was nice for the 49ers to have a guy on the outside who's like, okay, we're not going to scheme things up for you as much. Just go win. That was Ayuk. Pearsall will put in intriguing but unproven. We'll put him above. I feel like he's about even with Leggett. We'll put him here. Juwan Jennings I actually really like. Juwan Jennings is going to come up pretty high in solid starter. I'll say right here, honestly, I'll have him ahead of my golden boy McMillan. Yeah, Jennings is really good. I mean, if you really wanted to sneak him into tier 3, you totally could. That is high praise from Jack, the Seahawks fan, right? Saying I puke is tier 3. That's a good one. I haven't heard that one before. But we'll have Juwan Jennings in tier 4. Oh, I don't know. He's pretty good, though. He is a dog. I love the way he plays. DK Metcalf. We'll throw just ahead of DJ Moore. How about that? Good wide receiver 1, high end 2, right? Man, if I was a Steelers, I get like Metcalf overlaps with Pickens a lot, so like schematically it might not have made the most sense in the world, but I would have felt a lot better about this Steelers receiver room if they just had one more good receiver besides just DK, right? Like when it was DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like, okay, that pairing makes a lot of sense, and they have one more guy there. Pittsburgh doesn't necessarily have that right now. All right. I think this is Calvin Austin, right? Calvin Austin was decent. Man, my brain is already starting to run out of steam. Calvin Austin, we'll put like here. I don't know much to say about Calvin Austin. George Pickens is an interesting one, though. I'm going to put him near the bottom of this tier. I'll put him just above Zay Flowers. He's a hilarious player to me. I love me some George Pickens. I think he and CD are going to be a great pair, though. I do like that combo a lot. And I am curious to see how he does with Dak this year. I think he and Dak might have a pretty good connection. Dak will just be chucking it down the sideline for him. And we've got Roman Wilson, right? Michigan guy. Depth piece. I'll have him like right here. Ladd McConkey. Here we go. We're really starting to roll. We just have so many. We're going to hit a little bit of a turbo round here. A little bit. Just a little bit. I don't want to go too fast. And I know like there's some guys that I've talked about so much. And I don't want to like screw over teams too much. But, you know. My voice has a capacity. Ladd McConkey. Honestly, we're going to put him in tier 3. We're going to put him above Zay Flowers. I don't know, man. I was really impressed with Ladd McConkey year 1. I think he could be dynamite for a decade with the Chargers. I'm really in on Ladd McConkey. Trey Harris, intriguing but unproven. That seems fair, right? We'll put him above Pearsall, but behind Leggett. We'll see about Trey Harris. The Chargers are really counting on him, though. Parachamp is saying Ladd is a true wide receiver 1. I could see him breaking into that tier, honestly. I really could. Dude, oh, baby. I mean, his playoff debut against the Texans, his game against the Bengals, he and Herbert have a really nice connection on those outbreakers. Whew. Nothing like a deep corner route to Conk, baby. Oh, I do love me some Ladd McConkey. I was fairly high on him coming out of the draft. He's exceeded my expectations. Great player. And then Quentin Johnston. You got him in the thumbnail. Yeah, we'll put him in Rut-Row Raggy. High-end Rut-Row Raggy player, though. Is that Mike Williams? That's got to be Mike Williams, right? Because, yeah, Chargers now. Oh, there's so many Mike Williams. Mike Williams is that? I don't know that is. It's got to be, right? We'll pretend it is. Mike Williams at this point, we'll say solid starter. He's like better than Thielen and Slayton and Robinson. We'll put him like above Dobbs. He's very specialized, right? He's just an X-receiver deep threat. Holy smokes. Thank you so much, Jack. I appreciate it. Jack with a big-time super chat. Let's go. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Saying this is funding the Dr. Pigskin. We'll put JSN in the best of the best and keep them their foundation. JSN is up next. Well, I tell you what, for a $20 super chat, well, at least I can't promise that I'll keep them in there. But here you go, Jack. Get your screenshot in right now. Look at, I'm going to try and I'm pointing the wrong way. There he is. Look at that. Jackson Smith. I suppose JSN, we got to put him at the top of best of the best. There we go. There we go. For the $20 super chat, we'll have the charity best of best. If we're going to be for real, though, I will put him in tier 2. I mean, man, everything that you had hoped for him coming out of college. Didn't see year 1, but you thin out the wide receiver room a little bit more. You get a different offensive coordinator in there. He's free from the shackles of Shane Waldron, right? Boom. There you go. Unbelievable year 2. Unbelievable year 2 for JSN. And I'm starting to buy into JSN on the outside a little bit more, right? Again, maybe not a pure X where he's just like, all right, go beat press coverage. But as the Z, I can get down with that. Because Kupp might be a slot-only guy at this point. I do love me some Cooper Kupp a lot. Like, I still think all things considered, he's pretty good. I'm going to put him at the top, a solid starter. He has started to really lose a step, and you can tell, and it's limited him a little bit. But he's still an unbelievable blocker, and I still think he's a very good slot receiver. I'll put him at the top, a solid starter. I think that seems fair. I have gotten on board with this pair of JSN and Cooper Kupp just a little bit more. If you don't put him back in tier 1, I'm demanding a refund. Maybe at the end, we'll slide him back in there for tier 1. Make it noted the doctor can be bought out. Oh, I'm a sellout. I'm an evil person. All right, this is MVS, right? Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Depth piece. Deep threat. Better than Westbrook-Akine. Okay, yeah, honestly, with Clint Kubiak, he kind of cooked with him a little bit last year. Let's see Sam just chuck a few down to MVS, right? Let's see it. Brian Thomas Jr. Beast. Is it bad that I am actually really tempted to put him above St. Brown? I can't quite do it. I am this close to doing it, though. I'll put him just above Neighbors, though. My goodness, man. He is a Randy Moss regen. I'm not saying he's going to go down as like one of the 5 greatest receivers ever, but he plays like Randy Moss, like straight up, dude. He is so much fun to watch. Man, the Jaguars got a good one. That's what I'll say. There you go, game solved. I was saying, like, show the Jaguars some love. I was saying maybe another rookie receiver will be, above intriguing but unproven. We're at Travis Hunter now. I'm going to sneak him into this tier. I'm going to sneak him in at the bottom. I feel like I could totally see a world where he passes like a lot of these guys year one. I'll put him as a high-end wide receiver too for now, right? I will say that, where was I going with this? Oh, he's not quite as refined as a route runner, and maybe that'll be the biggest thing he needs to work on year one. But the ball skills are phenomenal. The athleticism is phenomenal. The will and the want to is phenomenal. That's something that doesn't get talked about as much with Travis Hunter as I think it should. He has an unbelievable work ethic, and if you ask anyone connected to the Colorado program, any of his coaches or teammates or anything, this dude lives and breathes football, right? And there's just an insane amount of work that you have to put in to excel on both sides of the ball, and he's done it, right? I have seen a few of the viral clips of him stumbling on some routes. I've also seen clips of him running like the same exact route a few reps later, and it looks great, right? There might be a few of those moments, whatever. He's running routes in practice right now. Hey, Jamar Chase had drop issues in the preseason too, his rookie year. Things worked out right. I'm not going to overreact too much unless it's good. If it's a good clip, then it's like, oh my gosh, he's here. Let's go. He's goated, right? But I mean, it is worth noting, like, yeah, the route running, that will be the biggest thing to watch. Can he really, like, throttle down and snap off some of these routes like, CeeDee Lamb can? He hasn't quite shown that yet, but maybe if he focuses on receiver a little bit more in the NFL, we'll see. But also, James Gladstone is like, he's going to be everywhere. So, Jack thinks that Neighbors is better than Brian Thomas. Both are very good, but Neighbors had Daniel Jones. I mean, that's fair, right? To be fair, Brian Thomas had Mac Jones for a lot of the season too, so it's not like the quarterback play in Jacksonville was exponentially better. I don't know. It's very close. If you want to make that case, you can. Oh, I don't know, but Thomas is just like so big and so fast and so explosive. And obviously, like, Neighbors is fast and explosive too. And Brian Thomas Jr. is just such an underrated route runner, and he can work out of the slot too. Oh, it's so close. But I think if I just really had to chuck it up to someone, Brian Thomas Jr. would get the slight edge. And I think they're so even in some of these other regards, like how good they are after the catch and stuff like that. It is incredibly close. And if you want to, like, you could even talk me into like having Neighbors above him, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And, he plays for the Jaguars. So, who is this guy? Is that De'Ami Brown? That's got to be who it is, right? Because the Jaguars signed him. Yeah, De'Ami Brown. There we go. We figured it out. We didn't even need to look it up. De'Ami Brown. Depth piece. Good depth piece, though, honestly. He had a nice little playoff run for the Commanders. We'll put him at the top. Who is that? It's got to be the last Jags receiver, right? Who is that guy? Let's see if we can find him here. But yeah, we figured out De'Ami Brown at least. Is that Parker Washington? Nope. He had a decent run last year. Joshua Cephas? Nope. Who is this guy? Nope. Who on earth is that guy? Does anyone... That is Gabe Davis? Oh, I suppose it's just like... Just got like mixed up a little bit with teams, I guess. Yeah, that most certainly is Gabe Davis. He's a free agent right now. I won't put him in Rutrow Raggy, but it's tempting. But we'll say depth piece. I mean, he's better than some of these guys, right? He's certainly not the beast that we saw in the playoffs, though. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, he was cut. Yeah, when Gladstone was going through his little purge. Okay, now we're to the Raiders here. We've got 3 Raiders receivers. This is Jack Besh. This is Jacoby Myers. Who is that? Depth charts. Raiders. That Trey Tucker, it's got to be, right? Yeah, okay. He showed a little bit. Depth piece. Jack Besh, I'm going to put an intriguing but unproven. I really like Jack Besh. We'll put him behind Burden but above Leggett. I think he could be a surprise. He could get a surprising amount of catches this first year with the Raiders. I kind of like the fit with Chip Kelly's offense and Geno Smith at quarterback. Jacoby Myers, we'll have a solid starter. I know Caden and I were gassing up Jacoby Myers last week on stream. I do like me Jacoby Myers. It is crazy. Like he had 0 drops last year or something like that. He had a pretty good season. We'll put him behind Adunze, but above Calvin Ridley. He's a good, dependable player. Wait, is that a running back? Is that really? Did they really use the? Well, we'll pretend that that's Jacoby Myers. That might actually not be Jacoby Myers, but it's getting late. We're gonna pretend it is. Welcome to the stream, Nehigh. Good to have you in here saying what's up. Not much, just doing a wide receiver tier list. How about you? Good to have you in here. Let's go. Pair Champ saying Gabe Davis drove him crazy in 2023, getting 18 points 1 week and then 0 the next week with the cycle never ending. Yeah, I have to imagine he'd be a frustrating guy to have in fantasy. That would be pretty tough. Yeah, I think we will throw Marv here at the bottom of tier 3. We'll have him above Travis Hunter, but below Stephon Diggs. All things considered, was it a slightly underwhelming rookie year for him? Absolutely. Like, he didn't light the world on fire like we've seen some of these other rookie receivers. But again, he still had some pretty good games last year. I think about that game against the Vikings or the Dolphins or the Rams, right? Like, there's still a lot to like about Marv. Year 2, right? Got better grasp on the offense. Let's see it. I'm still in on Marv, but tier 3 for now seems fair. Is that Michael Wilson? That's got to be, right? Let me pull him up here. That's got to be Michael Wilson. You know what's funny? When I made the solid starter tier, Michael Wilson was like the exact player that I had in mind. I can't find the Cardinals. There we go. It is Michael Wilson. Okay, it's got to be, right? No, he is legitimately who I thought of for solid starter. He is like the definition of a solid starter. You could put him like right in the middle of solid starter. We'll put him above Yoshivas, but behind Jaden Reed. Good player, honestly. He had some nice moments last year. He had a pretty good game against the Bills week 1. I like him. Nehigh thinks Kupp should be tier 3. He's been struggling with injuries these last few years, but he's still efficient. If you really wanted to slide him in there, I could understand that, right? And the Rams just like really didn't use him a whole lot to close out the season last year. And he still had a pretty good game in the playoffs against the Eagles when they did target him. I do worry though, just like every year, man, he just loses a little bit more juice and it just becomes a little bit more limited. We'll see. We'll see if JMO or he are better this next year. You know, like that'll be an interesting thing to watch just for the sake of like this tier list. But Nick's got to dip out. Hey, no worries. Appreciate you tuning in. Glad you enjoyed it. Let's go. Kupp is a good blocker though. Yeah. And I do value that a little bit. I can get a little nerdy about wide receiver blocking. So I respect that. Zay Flowers, depth piece. We'll put him like right here. I don't know. He's had an all right career. Nico Collins is going to go in true wide receiver 1. No, we're not quite above AJ Brown. Right here, though, honestly, I would put him above Amon-Ra. Nico Collins is phenomenal. You could almost talk me into putting him over CD. I won't quite go that far, but Nico Collins, one of the best outside receivers in the NFL, can work out of the slot too. 3-level scorer, right? Can work on all 3 levels of the field as a route runner. Phenomenal football player. Man, what a guy he's turned into. Who would have thought that the Texans would hit an absolute home run on him? It's not like he was crazy at Michigan or anything either. But my goodness, just the past few years, they've really unlocked him. He's got a great connection with Stroud. There are very few receivers in the NFL better than Nico Collins right now. And if you want to have him as like wide receiver 5, go for it. I don't know. Go for it. I think I might have him coming at like 6, but we'll see. Oh, did I call him Zay Flowers? Oopsies. Got the Zays mixed up. Ruh-roh. That's a ruh-roh raggy on me. See, I should go in the ruh-roh raggy tier. Christian Kirk is a depth piece. Yeah, at this point he might be. Maybe still a solid starter, but he's been injured a little bit too. Yeah, Yeah, we'll put him at the top of depth piece. Also, depth piece has gotten out of order a little bit, but whatever. Now we've got the Iowa State guys, right? Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. I like Knoll a little bit more. I'm going to put Knoll like right here, and then we'll put Higgins like right here. I like them both a decent amount, and I think it's fun if you're Houston bringing both of those guys in, right? They need another receiver now with Tank Dell having his injury problems. We'll see where if Tank, we'll pretend Tank Dell is healthy for a second. If he is, then honestly, a healthy Tank Dell goes like right here. It's just so tough to project what type of player he's gonna be now after all these injuries. We'll slide him in right here just because, we'll see. It is such a bummer, though. Like, a healthy Tank Dell would be, like, the top of this tier, honestly. If not, maybe even the low end of this tier. But, all right. The Chiefs. We've got Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, that guy, and Hollywood Brown. Rashee Rice will put in this tier. I don't know. He was pretty good when he did play last year. Behind Ladd, but above Zay Flowers. I don't know. Rashee Rice tier 3 for sure. Higher end, honestly, Jack is saying. He is pretty good. I could get down with Rashee Rice tier 3. I do have him at the lower end. I do think I like Ladd just a tiny bit more. And they're both slot guys. But I like that. Worthy. I've kind of been the fun police when it comes to Worthy. I'll still have him pretty high, though. I'll have him above, like, Dobbs and Mike Williams and Yoshivas and Michael Wilson and Jaden Reed. I'll have him right behind Jacoby Myers. I do think he could take a big step forward. Taking Rice over Ayuk. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still a little high on Ayuk, though, for better or worse. Who is this guy? We'll come back to him. Hollywood Brown. He was someone I was really excited for last year, and then he just didn't stay healthy. Low-key, I do wonder if he's a little bit better than Worthy, though, still. We'll put him right here. I low-key think he still might be a little bit better than Worthy. Nihai is saying he thinks Worthy is honestly overrated. He's really fast, so people like him, but I think he kind of disappeared at times during the season. He did, especially at the start, and he came on a little bit at the end of the year. I do think his Super Bowl performance got just a tad overrated. Like, I don't know, man. A lot of those yards came in garbage time and just off a small handful of plays. But he was a decent contributor in the playoffs. The Chiefs have a pretty good grasp on how to use him. I see the vision with him a little bit. I do think Hollywood Brown might be the better receiver right now, though. But, yeah. And I wasn't super high on him coming out of the draft either. So, he was kind of what I expected, but maybe a little bit better. So, I'll give him that. I straight up don't know who this guy is, so we're going to have to find him really quick. Chiefs. All right. Who is that guy? Is that Jalen Royals? It's got to be, right? Their draft pick? Yeah, okay, Jalen Royals. To be honest, don't know a lot about this guy. Don't really know a lot. We'll put him at the bottom of intriguing but unproven. Here we go. Puka Nacua. Call me crazy. I'm putting him right here. I said this before. I have him as my wide receiver 3. I just think he's so good at everything, dude. He's big. He can block. He's amazing after the catch. He's great on screens as the receiver or the blocker. He's great on jet sweeps. And he's a guy that can win on the outside or the inside. He's a great route runner. He has an insane catch radius. He doesn't do it often, but he certainly can win downfield. They don't send him on too many vertical routes. But we've seen plenty of long touchdowns from Puka Nacua before. I just think he's an unbelievable player. If you really want to sneak him into best of the best you could, I have this reserved for only 2 guys. A little spoiler alert. I have him as wide receiver 3, though. I really do. I think he's such a special player, an unbelievable find for the Rams. Over like A.J. Brown might be a little bit spicy, but I fully believe it, dude. I only think there's 2 receivers in the NFL better than Puka Nacua. I love him so much, man. He is one of my absolute favorite players in the entire NFL. I think he is, Jack. I don't know. I really think he is. He's just so complete and good at everything, and he's just so maximized in that offense. Man, I don't know, just like I think about some of the catches he had in that Ravens game his rookie year, or how he balled out against the Lions in the playoffs, or how he coming off an injury this year, just absolutely cooked the Vikings, right? I think about how he cooked the Bills in that shootout win this year. Oh, man, I don't know. I am the high man on Puka Nacua, I will say. Devontae Adams, I think we'll have him as like the top of this tier, honestly. I still think he's pretty good. He showed a lot of great moments last year, especially down the stretch when he kind of got acclimated to the Jets offense a little bit more. And I mean, I've said this so many times. Man, he and Puka are going to be such a sick duo, right? Puka's the motion man. Adams is the stationary receiver. It just makes so much sense. This offense is going to be so sick. Yeah. JSN is fire. He is. Adams is dope. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he's still got it. He's still got it. Welcome to the stream, by the way, JF. Good to have you in here. Tay's not that. I don't know, dude. I think he still is, honestly. He had like a 200-yard game last season. And he's never been like a burner. His game has never really been built on speed too much. I think his game is going to age pretty well. He is a little bit older. I don't know. I have him pretty high up here. I still do love me some Devontae Adams. Maybe that's a little high, but I don't know. Maybe not. Tutu Atwell. Go to depth piece. We'll put him like right here. He's Sean McVay's fun little toy. McVay's tried to make him a thing for so long, and for better or worse, he's finally done it, and he's been a pretty nice contributor in this Rams offense, but he's not much more else than just like a little depth piece. Guy you put in motion, get the ball out in space, you know. All right. Terry McLaurin. We're on to the Commanders now. Man, this is a fun debate. Terry McLaurin versus George Pickens. Me and Caden are having this debate. I think Caden has won the war. We're going to put Terry McLaurin pretty high here, honestly. We'll put him right behind Garrett Wilson, but above T. Higgins. Good football player, man. Really good football player. Noah Brown. Depth piece. Deebo Samuel. Man, I feel like at this point, like low-end solid starter, honestly. Like having him close to Thielen seems fair. I do think that Cliff Kingsbury could maybe have a decent plan for him this next season, but he's lost a step, and he's another guy that just like, I don't know, man. We'll see how his game ages. Jack is saying McLaurin is greater than having Tay over McLaurin is crazy work. I don't know. We'll see. And Nihai is saying McLaurin's clears Pickens. I've come around on that too a little bit. Kaden is saying respect. Jack wanted Debo and Rutro Raggy. Jerry Jeudy. Hey, how about Jerry Jeudy having a nice year? We were talking about him with Wolf earlier in this stream. We'll put Jerry Jeudy. Solid starter seems like a disservice after the great year that he had. We'll have him above Diggs, but behind Zay Flowers. I do think maybe he'll take a slight step back. I don't know. We'll see, though. They'll still be feeding him the ball. But he was really good working out of the slot for the Browns last year. It was nice to see him turn in a career year. This is Deontay Johnson, right? That's got to be Deontay. Oopsies. I always want to say Deontay Johnston for some reason. It is Deontay. He is on the Browns now. Holy crap. What a receiver room that is. See, there's no denying he's a good player. He's just been a bit of a head case. You know? But, I mean, as a player, he's better than Michael Wilson, you know. We'll have him as a solid starter. Mid-level solid starter. He's still pretty good. We'll see if he can catch on with Cleveland, though. He's bounced around a little bit. Jack is saying having Tay over a man top 6 in yards is crazy, and by that much, mind you. I don't know. The eyes, man. The eye test. Unk still got it. That's my Devontae Adams take. Unk still got it. I mean, dude, he was out there having good games with Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy G with the Raiders, right? He was still producing with the Raiders, and Derek Carr. All right. Who is this? Oh, man. Hopefully we don't have to do this too many more times. Who is that? Is that Cedric Tillman? It's got to be, right? Yep, Cedric Tillman. Honestly, I don't know. He's shown a little bit. We'll put him in intriguing but unproven. We'll put him right here in intriguing but unproven. I know Wolf has been pretty high on him too, right? There's some Browns fans that like him. Pittman, we'll say, is a solid starter. He was a bit of a disappointment last year. We'll have him above Shakir and Bateman, but honestly not by much. I don't know. I've always kind of liked Michael Pittman, but he struggled with drops a lot last year. He still is pretty good for what he is, though, by all means. However, he is not the best receiver on the Colts. That is Joshy. We're going to sneak Josh Downs into tier 3. I'm so high on Josh Downs, dude. I love his game so much. I'm going to sneak him into tier 3. I think he's the best receiver on the Colts. I stand by that. Having Tay over Cedric Tillman is crazy work. All right. Now we're getting crazy. But we're going to sneak Joshy in here in tier 3. I love me some Josh Downs. Adonai Mitchell. He was the guy who I had in mind for intriguing but unproven. I'm going to have him pretty high. I actually really like Adonai Mitchell. Again, I thought he was out there cooking last year with the Colts. Richardson just missed him a lot. He didn't get a ton of opportunities, but I really, really liked what I saw. I'm curious to see if he could take a leap here in year 2. Low key, I think there's a world where eventually Pittman is the odd man out in this Colts receiver room. I guess they probably signed him to an extension not that long ago. But I could see a world where the Colts move forward with Downs, Mitchell, and Warren as the 3 guys, and they get rid of Pittman or something. But Josh Downs in tier 3, but not Juwan Jennings is a war crime. I like Downs. I don't know. I like Downs over Jennings, to be honest. I think he's a better player. I think Juwan Jennings is a great player, but I think Downs is better. We'll see where he ends up when I count all these guys out, but I don't know. Alec Pierce will have as a solid starter. He has turned his career around a little bit. Honestly, where he slides in, we'll have him above Michael Wilson. He is a bit more of just he's a deep threat, but he's pretty good at the role he plays. Having him and Pittman in the same tier is kind of crazy. Maybe a little bit, but whatever. Drake London, we're going to have pretty high up here. Drake London, honestly, I am going to put him as a true wide receiver 1. Sorry, Jack. I'm going to put him above JSN. It's close. I don't know, dude. If you want to tell me that Drake London is the 10th best receiver in the NFL, I'm down for it. It was last offseason. Oscar, big Falcons fan, one of my good friends, was in chat and asked me hey, do you think Drake London could be a top 10 receiver? And I said, I don't know, right? This isn't even necessarily a knock on Drake London. There's just so many good receivers. It's going to be hard for him to break into that tier. Oh, baby, he did. He absolutely totally did, dude. I mean, the way that Zach Robinson used him, to go full circle with the Zach Robinson love that I was given earlier. Zach Robinson absolutely fully unlocked him last year, using him as that big slot receiver. Man, this might sound crazy, but honestly, he kind of plays like CeeDee Lamb a little bit. He's just big CeeDee Lamb. And honestly, the gap between these two guys is pretty darn close, I think. I'll have CeeDee over him, and there's a few receivers in between them, right? But I feel pretty good about Drake London, number 2 here. Or in tier 2. Walmart AJ Brown over JSN. Hey, Walmart AJ Brown is awesome. I'd love to have Walmart AJ Brown on my team. Where's Josh Allen? Only player to throw and receive their own passes a touchdown last season. Facts. Josh Allen would be right here. Honestly, JSN, Drake, I don't know. We're splitting hairs here. I'm super high on Drake London, though. I think London's a little bit better. Just a little bit. I do love me my physical receivers, too. Okay, we've got Ray McCloud and Darnell Mooney. Ray McCloud, depth piece. Darnell Mooney, solid starter. Now we got to the Broncos. Okay. Cortland Sutton, we've got Marvin Mims, and then some mystery players to figure out. Cortland Sutton is pretty good. He was a nice bounce back guy last year, honestly. We'll put him in tier 3. As things get jumbled around. Yeah, above Josh Downs is fair. We'll have him above Travis Hunter and Marv too. Yeah, I like that. Cortland Sutton had a nice year last year. Honestly, JSN is better than me. He's better than me too. Marvin Mims, solid starter. Feel pretty good about that. Well, I'll have him with Darnell Mooney. Shoot. Look up time. If it'll let me click. Okay. Broncos. Is that Devon Vele? Nope. Sometimes I just need to like jog my memory for like these guys' names. Troy Franklin. Okay, there's Troy Franklin. Honestly, what did he do last year? Yeah, not a whole lot. He had a bad drop, I remember, right? Didn't he drop like an open touchdown? We'll put him at like intriguing but unproven because it was just a year. You did see Drake London going for 180 against the Rams. Around the Horn did end. Yeah, that was sad. I loved Around the Horn. That was my go-to dentist office show. Was that like the dentist office right after school? Around the Horn was on. Oh man, good times. All right, then we got to figure out who this Patriots jersey wearer is. I have no idea who that is, to be honest. If someone in chat wants to help me out here, because honestly, I could not tell you who that is. We'll come back to him. Chris Olave. We'll put him in high-end wide receiver 2 or low-end wide receiver 1. I do like Olave a decent amount. He's just struggled with injuries so much. We'll have him right behind Ladd. I do think he could take a step forward if he could just stay a little bit healthier, you know? Now my mouse is being really weird. All right. We're almost done. Brandon Cooks. He's not Rut-Row Raggy, but he is like, I don't know. At this point, he's pretty close. Spiritually, he's Rut-Row Raggy, but he's not quite that bad. Rashid Shaheed. Depth piece. He's just like a deep threat. Let's just get this over with. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1. Fight me. I don't know. If you want to have Chase over Jefferson, I don't hate that one bit. I totally get it. I think Jefferson just gets a tiny bit more defensive attention. And it's just a tiny bit more complete. And also, I don't know. He too would win the Triple Crown with Joe Burrow. That's what I'll say. If you Jefferson is a depth piece. He does give us good depth, you know? We have the depth of having the best receiver in the NFL. Jefferson is a depth piece. Give me Jefferson over Chase still, but we're splitting hairs here, right? They act like two legends cannot coexist. You know, J. Cole said that once. Jordan Addison, I'm going to have him at the bottom of tier 3. We'll say, honestly, this seems fair. Like just above Travis Hunter, right around the level of Marv. If you want to say he's better than Marv, you could. He does benefit from a lot of nice looks with Jefferson out there, and he's a little bit more limited, but he is a very good player. He's a very good player. Jalen Naylor, I don't want to put him in Rut-Row Raggy. That would be an emotional decision just because he sold some last year. He had some bad drops with the Vikings. He is not much more than a depth piece, though, I will say. We'll have him pretty low. And then Ty Felton. I don't know, dude. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Games asking, Doc, you said only 2 people in the top tier. If you put Jefferson there, you can't add JSN or Brian Thomas Jr. or both. I'm on fall off watch. No, it's over. I'm getting deplatformed. Disrespecting his fan base. All right, 4 more to go. We've got the 3 Bucks guys and then this mystery player. Is that Kendrick Bourne? No, it's not. I don't know who this guy is. Emeka Egbuka. Intriguing but unproven. We're going to put him at the top of this tier, honestly. Dude, nah, I'm going to have him higher than that. Like, he's better than Darius Slayton. He's going to be better than Adam Thielen. He's going to be better than Yoshivas and Alex Pierce. I'm going to have him pretty high up. I do really like Emeka Egbuka. We'll put him right above Deontay Johnson. I really like Egbuka. Oh, yes. Good question, Pear Champ. I touched on this at the top of the stream. I am going to push the fantasy stream back. I thought about it. You know, I think I'll wait until like late July, early August when more people are doing like fantasy drafts and fantasy mock drafts. I checked out the ESPN mock draft lobbies and they were like all empty right now. So it's like, we'll wait till like, we'll wait a little bit. So, but that will still be coming. But yeah, I switched it up last second. But thank you for bringing it up because there is actually something I want to say at the end of this stream. I did not forget about the conversation that we had last week on stream. So I will still touch on that as we wrap things up here. But if I put Tay over Mike Evans, I might fight you. Get ready to fight me. I'm going to have him like just above Mike Evans. Okay, no. Not that far down. Get ready to fight me, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm too high on Devontae Adams. If you want to say Mike Evans is better, you totally could. I think Devontae's just a little bit better. He's going to pull up and beat me up. No. And then Chris Godwin. We'll have him in this tier too. We're going to move him up a little bit higher. I just have to scroll. Godwin, honestly, Godwin was kind of balling out before he got hurt. I'll have him above Waddle, but behind Ayuk. Ruh-roh Raggy. One with the ruh-roh Raggy. I don't know who this guy is. For all I know, he could be like one of these tiers, but we're going to put him in there to wrap things up. But here is the tier list. Holy crap, 114. We really just ranked 114 receivers. I should have seen this coming, that this was going to take a long time. I was cooking in the beginning, but this list completely derailed. Yeah, I don't think I had the brain power to go for 114 rounds here. But you know what? Trial and error. Hey, I still stand by, like, I know, like, the Devontae Adams take is a little debated, and the JSN placement is debated, and I get that, but Mr. Jackson, the good place. But we had some fun. You know, it was good to rank some players that weren't just quarterbacks for once. 114 is crazy, though. I don't know how I did that, but we'll see how this ages. Get your clips in and your screenshots in now, right? Yeah, get your receipts now. Thank you, Game Solved. Let's go. Thank you. There we go. The counts are disappointed. Yeah, just got here. The list looks crazy. Hey, that's how you know I'm doing my job, right? Thank you for tuning in, YB. Got Ridley too low. I was surprised to see he got 1,000 yards last year. That did surprise me a little bit. Just think about BTJ top one. You know what? Ask and you shall receive. There you go. The one true screenshot. And I'll do you one better. You're right. Justin Jefferson is a depth piece. Here, there we go. I could get both of them in the frames. There's the screenshot. Final rankings right here. Pencils down. Oh man, but we had some fun. We're gonna wrap things up here though. But before I go, I did want to bring up something that I had hinted at last week, and PearChamp, you asked some really good questions about this. One thing that was brought up last week was potential like Dr. Pigskin Fantasy League and Pick'em Challenge, right? I think that would be an excellent idea. So that is something I'd like to do this year. I know we had the Pick'em Challenge last year. We're going to do that again, but I'm going to be doing a Dr. Pigskin Fantasy League. It'd probably be a 12-team league, you know, standard PPR, stuff like that. But if you're interested, at some point, I will set up something in Discord and we can start talking about that. But I think that'd be a lot of fun. I don't know. I think we got a good group here, and I think that would be a lot of fun. That's something we can follow throughout the season and maybe come up with a prize of some sort. So if you guys are interested in a fantasy league, just keep your eyes peeled for that. We're going to be cooking that up at some point. We have plenty of time to like figure out the draft and everything. But yeah, man, that's all I've got. It's 9:31. It's getting to be bedtime for me. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate it, Jack. Thank you. Yeah, we like to have some goofs and gaffs here every once in a while, right? But there you go. JSN best of the best. Justin Jefferson is merely a depth piece. YB is new here, but he'd be down. Let's go. That's awesome. Let's go. That's awesome. That makes me happy. But I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys again next week, right? Wednesday night, usual time. But until next time, the doctor is out. Y'all have a good night. Appreciate you guys.